Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Sovereign Citizen Sunday. I hope you're having a good weekend so far. Oh boy, I'm having a little mini hyperfixation on this Wise Dome stuff. I don't know. It's something. It's something. If you haven't seen me cover these people before, Operation Wise Dome, created and headed by Cameron James Wilson, is a group of sovereign citizens that get together and how do I put this? Love bomb each other about their insane beliefs. They're also very into AI, as you can see. This is Cameron James Wilson, sort of. This is a creepy AI he made of himself to help advertise his little sessions. If you want to get bad advice from Cameron James Wilson, who is not a lawyer, despite calling himself an attorney, calls himself an attorney at fact, which, as I've explained before, an attorney at fact is like a fiduciary. It's like a person who has the power of attorney over like a trust or something. It doesn't just mean you're a lawyer because you say it. So anyway, he's not a lawyer, but he's charging people for 2 hours, $336, for 2.5 hours, 502 hours, to help write a complaint, and then for a 30-minute consultation for you budget-conscious idiots, $100 for 30 minutes of work from a man pretending to be a lawyer. Anyway, so I'm obsessed with this man and his delusions and how he has helped spread his delusions to a group of people. So we're gonna be looking at more of his stuff today. It should be good. It should be good. He was part of that Sovereign Citizen conference that happened recently. I see we're on a hype train. Thank you very much. This is probably the last day I'm streaming this month, so if you want to help us get to our sub goal, we are 51 subs away. We have 1 day. This is it, so we're probably not going to make it. But if you do want to help us get closer to the sub goal, subscribing or gift subs on Twitch are super helpful. I don't know what the fuck a treasure train is. I don't know. Must be a new thing. If you want to know what a treasure train is, gift subs and bits and we'll find out, I guess. Phoenix Leftist, thanks for 37 months, says, nice 37 month of foil and Sovsit conspiracies, indeed. Bumble Homestead, thanks for gifting that sub to Halloween Town. Terradona, thanks for 100 bits. Lilac Rosenberg with 55 bits. Says, I know it's not Tinfoil Tuesday, but I want to recommend this guy I said on Discord. He's like Terrence Howard, but he actually went to school. Let me take a look. Thank you. I will save him under my Conspiracy Folk folder, and I'll take a look at him for Tinfoil Tuesday. I always appreciate the links for stuff like that. Fennikagami with 40 bits says, ooh, new hype train type. Tea Time Tea, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs and getting us higher on the fucking coin train or treasure train or whatever the fuck this thing is. Korax, how's it going, Sunny Korax, says, there was a term for that in every state enforced by that state's Supreme Court. I believe it's called the illegal practice of law. Oh, I know. I'm very aware. A lot of sovereign citizens have gotten in trouble and gone to jail for the exact thing he's doing. That's why I want to cover him now, while he's still out and free. Because I'm sure within the next 5 years, he's going to get caught. Fennikagami says, apparently the treasure train gives a 35% discount on gift subs after level 5. I don't know if I have enough gift sub people that would make a ton of sense. Just because then it would require to get to level 5, and then they're cheaper, so then more people have to buy. Capitalism is a nightmare. I hate that I make my living this way. Anyway, consider gifting subs. Bittergrin, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs and getting us 75% to level 4 on this hellscape of a capitalism train. I'm not really helping my case here, am I? I got bills to pay. What am I doing? Bumble Homestead with 150 bits says, hope y'all are having a lovely pride. Every day you're out here breathing is a victory and has paved the way for my wee aceling. Hey, you know, if all you have left is living via spite, that's enough. That's enough sometimes, you know? I guess. 81% to level 4. Profane Priestess says taco. Oh, what is it? Trump says there will be temporary pass for migrant farm and hotel workers. What a stupid asshole. I hate that so many people in this country did this shit to us and to themselves. Fucking tired, man. Sweet Lily Love with a $2 super chat says, helping out the best I can. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, Bullet Bill. How's it going? Hope you're doing well, too. 81% to level 4 on the hype train. What could I want to put something on while we're doing this? I don't want to watch his trial yet, though. He did have an arraignment that was pretty interesting that I want to take a look at. Do we just look at his website? We could always just look at his website. Let's see. He's trying to do the traffic law reform thing, again with terrible AI, of course. I wonder how many people he has on his petition. Last time I checked, he had a little over 1,000 signatures, and I don't know if you know this, but that's not enough signatures. 1,600 signatures of people who don't want driver's licenses to be a thing. That'll do it. That'll do it. Don't we just love cults of personalities? I don't. I specifically requested the opposite of this. Don't blame me. I voted for Kodo Mala. Anyway. Whew, I'm thirsty. We are a driven organization with a powerful mission to defend freedom and challenge unjust laws. Again, those laws are like, you know, driver's license and speeding and DUI laws. Our journey is fueled by the voices of many, and we act with purpose to ensure that justice and liberty are restored for everyone. Inspired by the real stories of those impacted, we're here to create lasting change. All right, man. You don't like the looks of that lizard? Is it whispering things in my ear? I whisper to the lizard. How dare you? It does my machinations, not the other way around. Okay, we're still on the hype train. There's about a minute left and 81% to level 4, I think. Well, that's still going. We'll go ahead and look at one of his more recent traffic stops. Woo! Ooh! Sorry, that's a little loud. Sounds like a blender.
Please, I gotta let you over recorded, okay? Okay, what's the emergency? Next to you there, okay? I was just checking out the GPS, making sure. I was just checking out the GPS. Okay. Well, you're also swerving while you're on the phone, so that works why you're swerving a little bit. Okay? I wasn't swerving. I had just checked the GPS and put it back down.
I wasn't swerving. Were you outside of the car? Could you tell that you weren't swerving? You could be looking at the GPS on your phone and swerving due to not looking at the road. 30 seconds on the hype train. How many times he's gotten stopped so far on camera? At least 4 or 5. I'm not sure the exact number.
All right, let's go. Is this your car? I don't want to answer any questions. What's the emergency? There is no emergency. I just stopped you. Okay, so I'm not driving on the roads in a commercial capacity. I am traveling from point A to B. Okay. Do you have your driver's license on next to you? For what reason? Is there a crime that has been committed? Okay, did you understand that I am not...
Thank you for the hype train, everyone.
...using the roads in a commercial capacity? So, excuse me. Okay, so there's no violation that can be brought against me due to the fact that I am not using the roads in a commercial capacity. I am traveling. That has nothing to do with it. Yes, sir. Having a driver's license is one who is employed, driving on the roads. Do you have a driver's license? No, sir, I do not have a driver's license. Is there a reason why you don't have license plates on the car?
The fact that he didn't get arrested right there, I will never understand. I do not understand. They let him go after this. This isn't the one where he gets arrested. He's been arrested, to my knowledge, exactly once in a situation like this. And it annoys me to no end. I'm normally on the side of, like, cops are overzealous, but for some reason with this guy, I don't know if it's because he's charismatic or because he, like... I don't know what it is. Cops let this fucking guy go most of the time, and it drives me insane. It drives me crazy.
These are my plates. This is a private automobile. I am traveling on the road. I am not using the roads in a commercial capacity. Sir, I don't want to answer any questions.
All right, well, you're not free to go until I've been able to identify you, okay?
For what crime has been committed?
Wonder if they don't want to deal with him? It's possible, but if that's what they're doing, then he wins. Then he's successfully been annoying enough to get to break the law, and I just don't like that shit. I just don't. It's not even like he's doing stuff all that different from your typical sovereign citizen. He's just calmer and more charismatic. And if that's all it takes, then we're all fucked. The rule of law is already fucked in this country. I cannot visibly have random assholes get to blatantly break the law on camera multiple times just by being able to talk good. I cannot handle this emotionally. And yes, that's an argument from Consequences, but have you considered I need this?
No crime yet.
No crime?
That's correct.
Okay, a violation is not a crime whatsoever.
Well, it is a crime to drive without carrying a license.
No, that's a violation.
That is a crime.
No, sir.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you.
Okay, well, I'm gonna need you to get a supervisor,
Okay.
and at this point,
I need you to give me your name, please.
Well,
we can work together here.
Mr. Miller,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna advise you that I am going to reserve all of my rights, including my right to remain silent at this point.
Okay.
I am also going to serve you with a notice of liability, so you will be served with this notice of liability in common law, and I'm also requesting a supervisor.
Excellent. Can I have your last name, please?
Sir, you can have
I'm
this.
not taking anything from you.
This is the documentation I'm serving you with, sir.
Do you know that that's not what service means, Cameron? You're not legally serving someone a document by you just being like, here, have this.
I have a driver's license.
Excuse me, Mr. Miller, did you not understand me? I am reserving my rights. I'm reserving all rights at this point.
Can I ask you this? Are you willing to give me any form of identification?
Sir, have I committed a crime?
You are at this point, yes.
What crime have I committed?
Driving without providing a driver's license.
Sir.
That's a C misdemeanor.
That is a C.
He already said he does not have a driver's license. He said it 2 minutes ago.
misdemeanor. Driving, do you not,
I won't argue with you. I'm just asking.
okay, let me ask you this. Did you take an oath to the Constitution?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now taking that, Mr. Miller, please.
My favorite part of the Constitution is the part where it says they can't make you have a driver's license. That's the best part of the Constitution.
Let me ask you.
I'll go get that supervisor for you.
Okay, just let me ask you this. All right, thank you. All right, thank you. On my iPhone, but I am recording, so. Sitting here waiting to see what the hell they gonna do.
Benigagami says, so apparently it's not just the quartering. A ton of right-wing slop channels are struggling these days with viewership. I have a theory why. Well, an algorithm change and the fact that they are boring, useless slop, plus cultural shift are definitely a part of it. I think that another reason is that they're likely heavily botted. Right-wing money likely heavily botted these channels to fuel the pipeline, and the money dried up because Trump won and they aren't useful anymore. I think it's simpler than that. I think they've just been doing the same grift for 20 years. Maybe not 20 years, but how long has the quartering been doing this shit? Like, let me look at the quartering's channel real quick. Let's see. The quartering's been doing this for like 7 years, which is an eternity on the internet. I understand that his audience has a pretty high bar for consuming the same slop every single video 5 times a day for almost a decade, but I think even they have their limits. I think it's just that the people who watched his stuff have grown up and are less concerned with this shit. I'm not saying they're not involved in right-wing politics, they're probably just not as interested in Star Wars, you know what I mean? They're probably, you know, graduated to some other more, like, on-the-nose right-wing figure, and they're no longer a kid who needs to be in the pipeline. They've gone through the pipeline. They don't need Jeremy. They're on harder shit. And younger people, why do they want to look at some fucking almost 50-year-old man complain about fucking Star Wars or whatever, you know what I mean? I just think he went through his audience. He had his popularity, and similar channels had their popularity, and then their audience aged out of it, and they never courted new people, and that's it. I think it's simple. Just a Peach with a $1 tip says, I wonder if they're in an area that is too rural to arrest these guys and drive them to hold and then jail that could be further away. I have no idea. It's possible, but Cameron cannot get away with this shit because he is actively courting other people, and every time he doesn't get arrested, he uses it as evidence that his system works and that he's courting more people. I've told you guys this. He's gotten like 40,000 subscribers in like the last like 6, 7, 8 months. Like, he's growing with incredible rapidity. Like, for a sovereign citizen channel, he is growing faster than I have ever seen any other sovereign citizen grow, and he is actively accumulating other sovereign citizens around him and building out a network of other sovereign citizen creators to, like, help share audience members. Like, this is bad. In terms of, like, polluting the well of public discourse about this kind of shit, he's a nuclear bomb. I'm not joking. I'm obsessed with this man because I see the danger. He's charismatic. Like, he's able to foster relationships with people around him, and he is insanely confident in the incorrect things that he believes. He's just a perfect storm of awful to help spread this shit farther than it's ever gone before.
They just gonna write these tickets, or they gonna railroad me, or what? I mean, like, people are fucking going crazy on the highway, like stopping in the slow lane and getting all the way over into the middle lane. Like, I don't know what's going on back there. It's kind of weird. There's like, I know there's 3 cops here. There's 3 cars. Well, I don't know if there's 3 cars. I know there's 2. I see 2 cars, but I see 3 cops. So it makes me think that there's 3 different cars here now. So I don't know if they're just writing a ticket or if they're just trying to, like, figure out what they want to do. You know, like, they're not letting me know. Huh?
What did they just say?
Well, I don't know. This is the Oregon State Police. So when it comes to it, like, I have to kind of talk to them. I don't know. Next time they come up and talk to me, I'm going to have to let them know. I'm going to have to be like, look, dude, like the sheriffs, I've already gone up to the sheriff's office, both Multnomah County, Clark County. I've talked to both of the sheriffs, served them with my notice of liability of common law, and we've had this discussion. They've accepted my notice of liability, filed it with their offices so that when these type of
basically, he went down to the sheriff's office and gave them one of his bullshit documents that says, like, I know the super secret law that says I don't need a driver's license, and I'm letting you know that I know. And if you ever stop me, you owe me $10 gajillion, officers. And they probably took it and went, okay, sir, see you later. And then they, you know, threw it in the trash because they get documents from crazy people all the time. Hydrate. Will do. Fennikagami says, so basically he's a Sovset singularity, pulling in all the grifters and true believers together and to form his own galaxy. Yeah. I don't believe in great man history, but I do believe that sometimes within movements there are people who are able to very successfully, due to their skills, take advantage of movements that already exist and help them coalesce into stronger versions of themselves. And I'm concerned that he's such a person for the sovereign citizen movement. Hydrate.
do come up that within their system they are able to see that.
It's actually not that great, Amber. I would actually classify it as blowing chunks. It blows chunks.
And all I have to do is present it and state that I've spoken with several. Like maybe I need to, you know, pull out the business cards here and start letting them know what's up, you know, like, dude, this is
So, are those business cards supposed to tell me anything other than you get pulled over constantly? Am I supposed to be impressed that you asked for the business cards of cops that pulled you over?
This is real talk, man.
Look at how many times I've been pulled over. I think this is a win.
They're gonna write me these tickets, but that means then I have to come all the way back down to court either way. When they have the discretion to just say, you know what, yeah, you're right, but they don't want to look it up. They want to look at...
You're not right. You're not right.
Okay, well, this is what's in the system. We just got to go by what Oregon law is. But then, you know, you took an oath to the Supreme Court. So if you know, and it's like I'm saying...
Did he just say they took an oath to the Supreme Court? I hate the Supreme Court.
You're telling him, he's like, well, you have a crime of... It's a crime to not have a driver's license or something like that. I said, that's not a crime, bro. That's a violation. Because he kept saying violation. I was like, you're right, it's a violation. And then I was like, but that's not a crime. I was like, well, what crime's been committed? Where's the verified complainant? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not using the roads in commerce, bro. So, I don't know. I feel like because they're taking so much time back there, maybe they are just writing up the ticket. But at the same time, I don't know. Like, they're just all standing back there. So, they're taking way too much time.
You see what I mean? He is ultimately confident. There are so many sovereign citizens that do it, but they're still afraid of the cops. This guy genuinely believes he has more power than the cops in every situation, and it's horrifying for his own safety.
Because he said at first he said it was going to take 20 to 35 minutes for a supervisor to get here. And then 2 other people show up. So it's like, is he waiting for a supervisor to get here? Because he said, I don't want to make this harder than what it needs to be, but I just need to get your name. And he's like, I can get your name, get your tickets, you can be on your way. Or, you know, you can make this harder than what it needs to be, you can go to jail. So under the threat of coercion, you know what I'm saying, I give him my ID from Texas.
He's the vat of acid guy from Rick and Morty. He just hasn't found the real acid yet. That's certainly a way to describe it.
So now I have to see what this... I don't know if this is like... Uh-oh. Yeah, they're going to try and pull me out. Watch, here they go. Let's see what they say. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, I'll speak a little bit louder. Yes, sir, how may I help you?
So, I'm Sergeant Ian with the Oregon State Police. This conversation is still being recorded. So, I was told you wanted to talk to the supervisor?
Yes, sir. Are you one?
I am.
You're a sergeant?
Yes.
Okay. So, what I've done is I've done this quite a few different times now with police. I've actually spoken to several different sheriffs, both Multnomah County and Clark County up in Washington. What I've done is I've presented my notice of liability of common law of my eligibility to travel on these public roads in which my ancestors paid for freely. It's been ruled by the Supreme Court. I just won a recent case down up in Battleground in relation to the same thing.
So, Battleground is Washington.
That is correct, but I've also won it here in Oregon in Tiger, good sir. So for Washington and Oregon, it's been respected by the sheriff's office. You know, the sheriff is the highest law of the land. They got the power to arrest the president. And I've got...
That comes from the posse comitatus movement, the idea that the county sheriff is like the highest power in any given community. It's not true.
Recordings and everything.
Fennikagami with 40 bits says, honestly, this is why we need to divide cop responsibilities into different departments. There really shouldn't be one catch-all job that deals with all these different laws. Lawyers don't deal with all laws. Why do cops? It creates this situation where cops think it's beneath them to deal with this idiot on top of all the other problems with cops. I don't disagree. I don't disagree, man.
Thing where these sheriffs agree with me that all I need to do is present my notice of liability and everything should be good.
So do you have insurance for the car then?
Sir, no, sir. So, per the Supreme Court, what it says here, and this is a ruling, Supreme Court overrules all.
They generally get sovereign citizen training. That's what's so befuddling to me, is that they're not enacting it here. Training about sovereign citizens is very common these days, because sovereign citizens are very common.
State constitutions, and you took an oath to uphold that. It says no state government entity has the power to allow or deny passage on the highways, byways, or waterways, transporting his vehicles and personal property for either recreation or business, but being subject only to the regulations, safety, caution, traffic lights, speed limits, etc., be in excess of safety. Travel is not a privilege requiring licensing, vehicle registration, or forced insurances. Then we have the definition of driver and traveler. Driver, one who employed. I'm not using these roads in commercial.
He's literally just speed running all the sovereign citizen arguments.
Capacity whatsoever. I am a traveler. I'm going from point A to...
Can I look at it?
This is what the disconnect is. I'm saying this is what the disconnect is. The disconnect is the real interpretation of the law in the courts, and then the policies that y'all are out here enforcing. See, I haven't committed no crime. I've not been suspected of committing a crime.
Driving without a driver's license is, in fact, a crime.
Okay?
Pretty sure it's a misdemeanor.
Once y'all have...
Bella Lugozzi, thanks for 29 months, says he definitely seems unemployed, if anything. I don't know if he does anything else for a living, but he makes a decent amount doing this power inherent in the people bullshit.
Been notified that I'm not using these roads in a commercial capacity whatsoever, I should be free to go on my way, because it's my right to travel on these roads in any capacity. That's why that license plate is clearly displayed to all of your officers that I have reserved
the fraudulent license plate.
all of my rights, and that I'm a traveler on these public roads. So as of right now, my rights are being violated because y'all have been advised that I'm not using the. You don't see me transporting any goods. I'm not employed. I'm not carrying any passengers. So to be honest with you, this is deprivation of right under Section 192, Article 7. Okay, this is a constitutional violation, a violation of the deprivation of the color of law. All these violations within your state jurisdiction is a color of law. It's not a real law. They're statutes. And I have no contractual agreements with the state of Oregon whatsoever. I have no driver's license.
Sorry, missed a tip. Just a Peach says his ancestors were paying taxes in Washington and Oregon in the 90s and 2000s. That was when they were redoing all the state-run roads in the area. He must be so young.
I have no registration with this vehicle whatsoever within your state. I am in no contractual obligation with your state to abide by any revised statutes. I'm above these revised statutes because I don't have any contract. That's how it works, man. That's the law. And as a sergeant, I would feel...
Are they just standing there letting him talk? I think so. This drives me fucking crazy. It's like no other sovereign citizen gets this treatment. It's like he casts a fucking Jedi mind trick on the cops. That's why I'm obsessed with this man. I'm bewildered. I don't even see a clear difference. Like, he just does the same shit, except he's more confident. That's it. It's the confidence.
Know that we have the right to travel freely on these roads. And all I ask is that, you really uphold, y'all's oath to the Constitution. That's it. We got the free right to travel freely anywhere, man. I'm not a slave. You see what I'm saying? There's nobody above me if I haven't harmed anyone. If anything, who's the verified complainant in this case right now? Who's the...
Oh, his daughter's in the car. I can hear a kid's toy in the back. That's probably a part of it. Using your daughter as a human shield changes the equation a little bit.
VC. You have to have a verified complainant. Who's the VC? It can't be the corporation. It has to be a person of the public. So I just really want y'all to we got to come together on this, man. I mean,
Here's the thing. thing as well, though, but you're required to have, you only have an ID card, right?
Yeah, so I'm not under any contractual agreements.
But you're required to have a
You have to have a driver's license. It's not a contractual agreement. You necessarily need one to legally drive on the public roadways.
driver's license.
If I was using the roads on a commercial capacity, yes. But I just gave you the Supreme Court ruling. You just took a picture of it.
Yeah, so I'm going to look it up further, but here's the thing.
He's gonna look it up further. Oh, the cop's a dipshit. I see. The cop's a dipshit who fell for this. Oh my god. I just need to start scamming people. I'm telling ya, there's no money in being a good person. Fenekagami says, so basically he copied Trump's magic, but again, I think it's also because partly they think it's beneath them to have to deal with sopsits. There are all sorts of weird complexes that circulate in cop culture, the warrior shit just being one of them, but no cop signs on to the force to do traffic duty, so a ton of them probably don't take it seriously, and honestly, I wouldn't want to deal with this guy either. They probably just think, come on, is it really my job to deal with this? Here's the thing. There are things I have to do at my job that I don't like doing either, but it's my fucking job. You do it. God damn it. And I don't get paid as good as a cop, let me tell you.
Because there are arrests that are enforceable.
If I was, okay, that is right. You are correct in that. If I was a driver.
You are a driver.
No, I'm not talking about this job. I'm talking about the real job I have. I'm talking about the actual one with like a W-2, you know.
I'm not. I am a traveler, good sir. The term traveler and traveler are usually construed in broad and general sense. Why do you think I got a license plate that says traveler?
But if you look on in the...
Because you're delusional.
What
Do I win?
the driver is, right?
One employed. One employed.
It's anybody that's operating a vehicle.
Right. What they have done is they have given up their right to gain a privilege to drive on the roads in any commercial capacity, meaning they can transport goods. If I was an Uber driver, I would need a driver's license. If I'm going from point A to point B, I don't need no driver's license. I don't have no king, bro. Nobody can tell me that I cannot freely travel, have the pursuit of happiness. That is what is guaranteed. It's not a privilege. I have not given up my right. I am the I am.
Where did the traveling emote go? It should be there. Oh, you're not subscribed. You don't have a subscription. You need to be subscribed to use my emotes.
Creator, I haven't harmed anybody. Eli, let me show you one more thing. So this case right here, this was this year, not too long ago. Look, they gave me one for no valid driver's operator's license. I go to court, and on the same day, the DA dropped it as an order of dismissal. Why? Because I filed my paperwork, bro.
No, I would imagine there were other things that were issues with the case. He always does this. When a case gets dismissed, he treats it like a win. No, sir.
I know what I'm doing out here, man. I'm serious, bro. This is how it works.
Washington laws doesn't apply in Oregon.
I've had it done here in Oregon as well, my brother, in Tiger. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I do this. And that's what I was trying to explain to Miller, is that if you give me these tickets, I just got to come back down here and file motions and they get thrown away.
Okay, do that then. They should give him a ticket and make him do that. If he thinks he's that confident, make him prove it. Hydrate.
Like, I don't want to waste my time. I'm just trying to...
You're wasting everyone else's time, cunt.
Was this a crime or was this a violation?
No! A statute, man. A statute. That's all they are. A crime is a victim. There ain't no victim here. Where's the VC? Where's the verified complainant? If you ain't got no verified complainant, there ain't no crime, man. Everything else is just a violation. And there has to be a contract for me to be in violation. I haven't agreed to y'all's contract. I haven't got no driver's license. That's how it works in the courts, Eli.
Admitting to crimes in front of the cops and they're not gonna do anything. Genuinely pathetic.
ID and the citations are being issued. Okay?
Kagami says, no, I agree with you. I work customer service, so no argument, but most jobs don't have an entire propaganda machine telling them they're superheroes and the sheepdogs protecting the herd, or have the government protect you from basically every bad thing you could do in the union that the government actually respects and lets you pretty much get away with anything.
The court date is November 22nd of this year at 10 in the morning in Salem. The address and phone number is printed on
Okay, they at least gave him tickets. Thank fuck.
citations, okay?
All right, you got a card?
What's that?
You got a card?
I don't, do you have a card? No, but my information's on the site.
What's your name, badge number?
Trooper Miller.
Badge number? Uh-huh.
21K41. Okay?
What's your badge number?
21K41.
Why does it say 839 on the badge then?
That's the other one. I don't go by that one.
Well, why are you wearing it then?
Because that's what they issued me.
Why you writing me a ticket?
This is a good thing. You're not getting
Why are you writing me a ticket? You're lucky they don't take your car.
your car towed.
If you towed it, I reserved all my rights, so that would have been even...
I'm not towing it.
Especially the right to be a dipshit.
Yeah, that would have been bad,
I'm
man.
break there, okay?
Huh?
I'm cutting you a break there. I'm trying to work with you. I really am.
Well, when we go to court, I think your eyes are going to wake up.
Out of all of the people to try and work with and help, why would you want to work with this arrogant asshole? I really don't get it. There's so many situations where just, like, giving a warning is perfectly reasonable and the nice thing to do. This isn't it. Take his fucking car. Show him that this shit isn't real. I'm begging you. You hurt so many people just fecklessly, and then this guy does this shit, and now you're like, well, I'm gonna be nice. Jesus. Midnight, what do you want me to look up in Black's Law Dictionary? Domain? I will look up domain.
Bit. So, are you going to show up to court?
Absolutely.
Okay, you'll see, brother.
I have to.
Well, you need to really realize this Supreme Court. So,
You have to realize that you can't drive this car on the road without insurance.
I'm not driving.
You don't want somebody else to have to pay.
hey, there ain't no what ifs. We don't operate like that. That's not how this country works.
Okay.
I'll show you in court.
Okay.
All right, have a good one. All right, thank you.
And the way he says, like, I'll show you in court, he's such a prick. He's such a fucking prick. Can you guys tell the difference between when I can, like, kind of at a distance look at these things and when someone personally gets on my nerves? Because it's very evident. Can you tell he gets on my nerves? Anyway. What was the word? Domain. Domain, the complete and absolute ownership of land, a paramount and individual right of property in land, also the real estate so owned, the inherent sovereign power claimed by the legislature of a state of controlling private property for public uses, is termed the right of eminent domain. Every day you marvel in that DVD collection. You want to know what I'm up to? Let me take a look at what I'm up to with my DVD collection. I have 3,791 movies and TV shows. We did it. What did we do? Filled up a lot of empty space.
You talking about you lucky I ain't towing your vehicle. Yeah, that would have been a seizure of my motherfucking property without due cause. Nigga, shit, you want to do that? We'll see. Be even more. I better send me to court and let's go. Fuck out of here, bro. I'm driving out of here with traveler license plate and all, nigga. Fuck you heard, cuz. That motherfucking sheriff took pictures of my shit. All right, I'll talk to you later, babe.
Upset. He seems upset. So here's a script he put together about jurisdiction, and it's about 11 minutes long, and then after that, we're going to watch his most recent court hearing from 2 days ago. This was an arraignment for... Not sure what the arraignment was for. It'll be discussed in the arraignment, but let's see the script he wrote versus the reality, shall we? So first, the script.
Oh. Here I am again. I done popped up one more time on y'all's ass. Yep, I sure did. I sure did. And I'm going to get right to it because I'm going to let y'all know when it comes down.
Oh, by the way, we are doing the Patreon and YouTube member stream after this. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure you join the Patreon or become a member on YouTube. We'll be watching another movie together.
To this shit.
It'll be nice and relaxing after this stressful stream.
It really is in this thing. Okay? It really is a court of hell. And
yeah, he got to drive away. I've only ever seen him get arrested once out of like the 5 times he's been stopped.
Straight to it. What's up, Danny? Court of hell, the state of inferno is what we're constantly living in. So we're just gonna have it be the state of inferno against Cameron.
Oh, he mixes weird like pseudo-Christian spirituality stuff with all of this sovereign citizen stuff, with further concerns me because it's very culty. It's not great that he's now mixing in spiritualism with sovereign citizen beliefs. Creepy Doll in the Wall, thanks for 44 months, says 44, same as 33, right? Yay!
Cameron Wilson. An official court transcript, jurisdictional challenge, hearing. Okay? This is going to be a true and accurate transcription of proceedings before the Honorable Court of Hell. Just so you know. Yo, I found, someone sent me this. I was like, yo, man, let's turn this into something we can run through real quick. If y'all want this, let me know. Send me an email. Join the Discord. Let me know. Again, this is going to be State of Inferno, plaintiff versus Cameron Wilson. Proceedings.
I find this interesting because this is completely fictional. He wrote this, or he had ChatGPT write it. I'm not sure. But either way, he thinks that this is how a court appearance will work with him in it. We've seen many sovereign citizen court appearances. He really thinks they're just going to let him talk way longer than is reasonable. So.
This is going to be an opening court session, okay? The court. Mr. Wilson, you are here today to answer to the charges brought against you. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty? Your Honor.
He does have a Discord. You know who else has a Discord? I do. Join my Discord. Here's a link. Mine isn't full of sovereign citizens, so that's good. So join my Discord and come hang out, talk about things.
Before I can enter any plea, I am here by special appearance solely to challenge the jurisdiction of this court. I require prosecution to prove on the record, let's zoom this in a little bit more. There we go. That's better. That this court has both subject matter and personal jurisdiction over me and this matter, the court. This is a criminal case, and this court has jurisdiction over such matters. You need to enter a plea, Your Honor.
Period. End of. Anytime he tries to bring this up from now on, if this was a real court case and not an imaginary scenario he made up in his head, they would be like, stop. I already ruled on this. We have jurisdiction. But he thinks they're gonna let him talk forever about this for some reason.
I do not waive any rights and do not concede jurisdiction. Respectfully request that the prosecution prove on the record every element of jurisdiction, including subject matter, personal, and territorial jurisdiction. Until that is done, I cannot enter a plea. The court assumes jurisdiction because the case falls within the legal authority. Now,
they would never say assume. They would say they have jurisdiction. They would not say assume. The only reason he has the hypothetical judge here say assume is so he can say assumptions are not enough. I have never, ever, in our years of covering sovereign citizen court things, ever had a judge use the term assume jurisdiction. It's like he's making up a fucking Wojak argument in his head for himself to win. It's so weird.
Now, how do you plead? I object, Your Honor. I do not accept the court's assumption of jurisdiction. Assumptions are not proof. I challenge and rebut any and every presumption of jurisdiction I require the prosecution to provide evidence of proper jurisdiction on the record.
Nerdy, thanks for a 235 stream streak, says states all over the world wish they were called Inferno.
So they do so.
I don't get it.
This court has no authority to proceed. The charges are filed in this court, and that gives us jurisdiction.
Is he mixing civil and criminal court procedures in this case? I didn't catch him doing that, but if he did, it wouldn't surprise me. Sovereign citizens do that a lot. They'll also mix federal and state jurisdiction stuff.
Over you, enter a plea. Your Honor, I respectfully object. Filing charge.
The laughter gets me too. You can tell he's gotten through his entire life with this confidence and cockiness, and he uses it to steamroll over people and delegitimize them by just like laughing at what they have to say. Like completely just like, it's so obnoxious.
Charges
I think
alone
we've all known people like that. It's not great.
does not grant jurisdiction. I'm not submitting to the court's authority until the prosecution proves evidence that this court has subject matter jurisdiction, personal jurisdiction over me, and territorial jurisdiction, all of which must be proven on the record. I demand proof, not presumption. Mr. Wilson, you cannot delay these proceedings. This court has jurisdiction, and you must enter a plea. Your Honor, I am not attempting to delay. I am simply invoking my right to challenge the court's jurisdiction, which is a
non-binary says, question, you know your on-screen chat, is it in 1080p? It looks fuzzy compared to the rest of the stream. I've never noticed before, but I have a new tablet, which is in 4K. I've never noticed. I don't know. I don't know what that output's at. I know I generally output at 1080. At least I have since I got an Ethernet cord. I'm not sure if this element itself is.
the fundamental element that must be proven before any proceedings continue. The burden of proof is on the prosecution, and until they satisfy that burden, I cannot proceed. Turning to the prosecutor, does the prosecution have any evidence to present on this jurisdiction? Prosecution, Your Honor, the charges have been filed in this court with...
Notice that he gives the prosecutor like a dork voice too. You can tell he's very academically minded, the way he ad homs these fictional straw man characters he's created.
Which has the authority to hear criminal matters.
This part would never happen. Likely no. The judge in virtually every case I've seen just says, like, no, we have jurisdiction. Like, I rule we have jurisdiction. I've seen a few times the prosecution jump in themselves and say, hey, the ticket or the report says that this person was seen by a cop at such and such place doing such and such act, and then the judge rules it. But it doesn't go on this long. Ever.
Defendant resides in this jurisdiction and the alleged crime occurred here. I object, Your Honor. The prosecution's statements are not evidence. I demand specific factual evidence be placed on the record to prove jurisdiction. The court must establish through admissible evidence that it has jurisdiction over both the subject matter and my person. The prosecution has presented none. Mr. Wilson, these are standard proceedings. The court has jurisdiction based on the charges and the location of the crime. Your Honor, I again respectfully...
The little laugh. Am I crazy? Is this person not like nails on a chalkboard to anyone else? Is this just like hitting all my buttons in a specific way? Like this, listen.
Based on the charges and the location of the crime. Your Honor,
Your Honor, little fake fucking laugh. Fake fucking laugh. Douchebag.
Again, respectfully object. Legal standards cannot replace factual evidence. I challenge the court to provide factual evidence of jurisdiction.
You can't say that, tea time tea. I gotta get rid of that message. Sorry. Don't say that. You can't wish violence on anyone in Twitch chat. It's against Twitch rules, and I have to enforce that. Sorry.
Jurisdiction, as assumptions and standard practices do not fulfill...
You're okay. I just gotta enforce the rules.
The legal requirement of proof.
We can be frustrated. We can dislike him. You can't wish physical harm on people. It's the rules.
Until jurisdiction is established on the record, I do not submit to this court's authority, nor will I enter a plea. Mr. Wilson, you are required to follow the procedures of this court. Your Honor, I comprehend. However, I am exercising my right to challenge jurisdiction.
I don't think you can wish harm on people generally. I don't know the specifics.
And I request that this court acknowledge that no plea can be entered until jurisdiction is proven. I reserve all rights and rebut all presumptions that this court has jurisdiction unless it is established on the record. Your Honor, I believe the defendant is attempting to delay the case. I object, Your Honor. This Peabody over here. I'm not attempting.
He called a fictional nerd he created a Peabody. Like, what is that? Like, he's like dunking on a character he made up. That's insane. Imagine, like, if I did a little fucking improv character and I was like, that fucking character's a dork. Like, yeah, you made him a dork. That's the bit.
To delay anything. I am exercising my right to ensure that this court is operating within lawful authority. Hold on, I lost my music, man. Up over here, where my music go? Yeah. Oh, if y'all liking what
the
we
judge would also be preventing this kind of run on. If I were the judge, I'd push this guy to the back of the docket and let him stew. Yeah, or the prosecutor would be objecting. Like they would not let him go on this long unimpeded with this fucking bullshit. Fenekagami says, can we wish that he actually gets arrested and goes to jail, since somehow to our society that doesn't count as harm, especially to corpos? I don't think it's unreasonable to hope that if he commits actual crime, that he is found guilty of that crime.
doing right now, go ahead.
Quite specifically.
Hit the like button. You did one tomorrow. Okay. I object, Your Honor. I am not attempting to delay anything. I am exercising my right to ensure that the court is operating within its lawful authority. Jurisdiction must be proven, not presumed, and I'm merely requiring the prosecution to do their duty and establish it with admissible evidence. Come on with it, Peabody. You have made your point, Mr. Wilson. However, the court will move forward. I will ask you once more, how do you plead? Your Honor, with all due respect, I cannot.
They would have put in a standing mute, not guilty plea 5 minutes ago. They do not have the time on their docket to listen to bullshit, man.
Will not enter a plea until the prosecution has proven jurisdiction on the record. I maintain my challenge and my objection to the court's authority to proceed until this matter is settled. Mr. Wilson, this court has already stated that we have jurisdiction based on the location of the alleged crime and the charges. You're delaying the proceedings by refusing to enter a plea, and I must warn you that if you continue, there could be consequences for obstruction. Your Honor, with all due respect.
He's just repeating himself. Yeah, I'm not joking. Before I've heard him talk to someone and they implied that, like Beetlejuice, you need to ask for something 3 times before the judge will actually grant it. Like it's some sort of secret code. So I don't know if he's doing that here or what.
I'm not obstructing these proceedings. I am asserting my legal right to challenge the court's jurisdiction, which has not yet been proven on the record. As you are aware, once jurisdiction is challenged, it must be established under law, not by presumption or assumption. The prosecution has already stated that the crime took place within this jurisdiction.
How much did you miss? A decent bit. We're an hour in. Him just being nuts.
And you reside here. What more do you require? Your Honor, I respectfully submit that statements from the prosecution are not evidence in a matter this serious. The court cannot proceed without proof of jurisdiction that complies with the law. The court cannot assume jurisdiction based on mere assertions or location. It must be proven. I demand that the prosecution produce lawful evidence demonstrating this court's authority to even hear the case. This court handles criminal matters like this every day. We have jurisdiction and the charges have been properly filed. I'm asking you for the last time, how do you plead? Your Honor, I again respectfully object. It is established law that jurisdiction must be proven once challenged. I have raised
the little laughs he throws in, I'm telling you.
Challenge in the
He has such utter contempt and disrespect for anyone who thinks he's wrong or who doesn't think like him. It's bonkers.
Prosecution must meet the burden of proving that with evidence that the court has subject matter jurisdiction, personal jurisdiction, and territorial jurisdiction. Like until they provide this date, any actions this court takes would be void ab initio without legal effect. I mean, Your Honor, we have already indicated that the crime occurred within the state.
Just a peach with a tip says, so is he saying he lives in hell, being he said this is the court of hell? Yeah, I think he's trying to say that, like, people who don't agree with me are satanic. Everyone who doesn't agree with me is secretly of the beast. Like, it's just weird, semi-spiritual, butthurt bullshit.
Then that the defendant lives in this jurisdiction. That should be sufficient. I object.
Not living in the place, it's the fact that you committed the crime allegedly in that jurisdiction. You could be from anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're from France or North Korea or live in the town. You're in the place committing a crime, allegedly. That's the jurisdiction.
That is
Fennikagami with 40 bits says, I hope Ayn Rand is in hell, being forced to listen to every moron she's inspired monologue at her and she's gagged, so she can't sanctimoniously interrupt them like she would do anytime someone questioned her.
not sufficient under law, and you know that, Peabody. I require the prosecution to prove these elements through proper documentation or admissible evidence on the record. Merely stating that a crime allegedly occurred here is not enough, and y'all know that. The law requires proof, and I challenge the prosecution to present it. The court has jurisdiction. We are moving
Like, he thinks they're just gonna go around in circles with him for as long as he wants.
forward. Your Honor, I must object again. If the prosecution cannot produce
Your objection has already been ruled on, Mr. Wilson.
evidence on the record that establishes jurisdiction, I move for a dismissal of the case for lack of jurisdiction. Under Constitution and common law principles, jurisdiction again must be proven, not presumed. Any further actions taken by this court without proper jurisdiction will be ultra-vires beyond the court's legal authority. All right. This is not the time for legal lessons, boy. You are expected to participate in these proceedings like anyone else. And this court has jurisdiction and we will proceed. Your Honor, I do not seek to lecture.
I noticed that he made the judge racist for some reason. He made the judge say boy at him.
Must insist.
So in his mind, he's the ultra Chad Wojak that has walked into court and he's a super genius, and the judge is an old racist fuck, and the prosecuting attorney is a fucking dweeb. Like, do we see the worldview from which he is, like, coming? I just find that so fascinating. That's his idea of court. Huh.
On the rule of law, the prosecution must meet its burden. And I cite the case of Ex parte Young and others, which demonstrate that jurisdiction must be established once challenged. This is not a
He
trivial.
thinks he's Atticus Finch. As we learned from Go Set a Watchman, Atticus Finch was actually secretly very racist. Let's not talk about that. We don't talk about that book. Okay, moving on.
Matter. I respectfully demand that the prosecution produce evidence, the state, whether in form of affidavits, certified records.
Go Set a Watchman is the cursed child of the To Kill a Mockingbird fandom. That checks out.
Or other lawful documentation that proves jurisdiction. And until this is done, I cannot proceed in any manner. Turning to the prosecution. Does the prosecution have anything further to add on jurisdiction? Now, we've already explained that the crime occurred within this court's jurisdiction, and we have presented the charges. I object again, Your Honor. The prosecution has only made assertions or assertions, which are not evidence. I require the...
I think the judge knows what the word assertions means. I don't think you need to explain that for the judge.
Production of specific evidence on the record to prove jurisdiction, and the law requires proof, not allegations. So I demand to see documentation such as the lawful authority under which this court is proceeding, proof of proper service, because I ain't got none, and any other necessary evidence to establish the court's jurisdiction, in which we will prove at that time at the next hearing. Mr. Wilson, this court has already stated that we have jurisdiction, and I will not entertain this further. Your Honor, respectfully, I must continue to challenge jurisdiction until
It circles around and around and around. It's like he thinks contempt of court isn't a thing.
it is proven according to law. Before refusing to provide proof of jurisdiction, this court is acting beyond its lawful authority. I move for dismissal based on lack of jurisdiction. If jurisdiction cannot be proven, then this court has no lawful standing to proceed. Oh, baby girl woke up. Uh-oh, we getting cut short today.
And then his daughter wakes up. He puts his daughter on camera a lot, and it makes me incredibly uncomfortable. I hope everyone knows I'm doing my best to keep that shit out and not pick the videos or stop before or start after his daughter is on screen. But he will consistently put his, like, I'm guessing 5-year-old daughter or something like that on camera, especially because he runs these groups with a lot of sovereign citizens. And this is, you know, I'll even say that maybe this is prejudicial of me towards sovereign citizens, but sovereign citizens are the kind of people that don't like the law. They're like ultra-libertarians, and if you know anything about libertarians, let me just say, if I had a kid, I wouldn't be showing him to a group of libertarians, you know what I mean? Okay. Fetna Kagami says that only tracks if it was a poorly written book that followed probably one of the most unlikable self-absorbed main characters who causes all the problems and not just an unpopular reframing of a beloved character. Yeah, I guess that's true. Okay, so that's how we thought this was gonna go, and then here's his actual arraignment. Like I said, this was 2 days ago. There's no visual element because he was recording this from his pocket because he's not supposed to be recording in court, which I'm pretty sure is its own issue, but I'm not a cop, so let's listen. There's a quick tip. Just a Peach says, I love this idea of him winning is him in an endless court case in hell where he lives. So he wants what should be his own personal hell, which is really weird. Maybe that will be his hell. Someone says, I was about to say good for him for immediately stopping to take care of his kid instead of worrying about what he's doing. Then I remembered he's a sovsit. Poor kid. I will say this. He always seems very attentive to his kid. I've never been given the impression outside of the sovereign citizen stuff that he's, like, bad to his kids or anything. I believe he loves his kid. Like, really. The way I've seen him interact, I think he cares about his daughter, and he doesn't want anything bad to happen to her. The problem is, I think he's ignorant and narcissistic, and I just don't think he understands what he's doing, and how dangerous it is, A, to show her on the internet for everyone, and B, for him to be doing this sovereign citizen stuff, and how that's detrimental. When he does eventually, if he keeps doing this long enough, he will get in trouble, he will end up going to jail, and then she's out a dad. And that sucks, you know? I don't like the guy personally, but he has a daughter, and I'm sure his daughter loves him and, like, you know, wants him in her life. And it's just sad. It's just sad. Anyway, here's his recent court appearance.
And Mr. Wilson, I'm putting off an information for arraignment. I'll note that you're seeking to represent yourself, and so we'll address that in just a moment.
Himself.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
I'll just have you be present in the back if you
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Wilson, I printed off an information. I just want to make sure that everything on it is correct. So, is your first name Cameron?
Oh, they don't dismiss the charges. I've already watched this. They don't.
Well, on the information sheet itself, Your Honor, if I may,
Yes.
is spelled with all capital letters. My name is Cameron James Wilson with proper spelling.
Oh, and middle is James, is that correct?
That is correct, but it's not in all capital letters.
The all capitals, every proper noun in court cases like this in the filings is in all caps. Your name is a proper noun, so it's in all caps. That's it. That's all it means.
CAM with all capitals, Cameron Wilson would indicate a corporation, which I...
Nope, it indicates a proper noun.
So I just wanted to make that clear. So that information is incorrect as far as the spelling is concerned.
Very good. Ms. Johnson, can I have you grab the,
Yes, Your Honor.
the information and bring it up to the court?
Of course.
I'm going to amend the information to add the middle name of James. So that is amended, and we're going to initial and date that. And so I do note the objection as to capitalization of the name. And then is your date of birth...
Berkosian says, are you nouning me? Is this the first step in the process of being renowned?
February 5 of 87.
Fuck your wordplay.
That is the date in which a document was wrote for my birth, but not my birth of, as far as life is concerned, conception of life.
Oh, and so what is your birthday?
Well, you would have to.
Oh, he thinks his birthday is the date of his conception because he's probably anti-abortion. Wow, he's just full of strange beliefs, huh?
Ask my mother-in-law, Almighty God, I wouldn't know the exact date and time and hour of whatever time is referenced in relation to my creation.
Okay, so the record will reflect that Mr. Wilson can't state his birthday, and then turning to interfering with the peace officer. Sorry, sir?
Just an objection. I did state that there is a document claiming 2587, so that was the date of birth, but not my conception as far as life is concerned.
Oh, okay, date of birth was 2587.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So count one is interfering with the peace officer. It reads the defendant on or about May 9, 2025, in Reentering, Oregon, did unlawfully and knowingly act in a manner that prevented Officer D. Francisco, a person known by the defendant to be a peace officer, from performing the officer's lawful duties with regard to a criminal investigation. That is named misdemeanor, carries a maximum penalty of 364 days in jail, $6,250 in fines. And so, sir, you have a number of rights, as you're likely well aware, as regards to this new case. You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford one, one could be appointed to represent you. If you could afford one, you could hire one to perform as an attorney for you. And I can see through the waiver of attorney form that you're asking to represent yourself. Is that correct?
Well, I wouldn't be representing. I would be presenting myself, though, Your Honor. Yes, sir.
Shit's so stupid. Sovereign citizens have got on this thing recently. You know how they are with semantics. They think they're not representing themselves, because that would be presenting yourself twice, because re as a prefix often means twice. So I am not representing myself, I'm presenting myself. It doesn't mean anything, it doesn't do anything, it just makes them feel like they're doing something.
And so can you tell the court what you think the distinction is between presenting yourself and representing yourself?
Representing would be the having someone represent myself. I'm coming to the court as far as to reach.
No, that's not how it's used colloquially, Cameron. That's not how that's used at all. Just a Peach with $1 says, the all caps thing has to do with how early word programs worked and how the info was available to read on screen. Lowercase was harder to read. Yeah.
And proper persona to present myself as far as all of my creator endowed rights.
Okay, and do you have a law degree, sir?
No, sir. I'm not construed in the law whatsoever, so I would like the court to take judicial notice of the fact that everything I do say must be taken and construed liberally.
Okay, and have you ever represented yourself before?
Yes, sir, I have.
In a criminal case?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay, so then you have some understanding.
Or should I say again, present? Because the represent and present are two different things.
Okay, the record will
They're not, Cameron. They're not different things. You just sound like an idiot.
reflect that you would like it to be referred to as presenting.
Do you know the existential horror? Have you ever read the comic where, like, for a second, the Martian Manhunter is able to fix the Joker's brain and he immediately has an existential crisis about, like, oh my god, I've hurt so many people and I've done so many terrible things. And he immediately goes back to being insane again. I kind of wonder, I wish I could for a second give Cameron a moment of clarity and realize exactly how embarrassing all these things he's doing is. I think it would be incredibly destructive to his psyche, but it would be entertaining.
Yourself.
Thank you, Sir John.
And so there are a number of things an attorney can do for you that you have not been trained to do and may not know how to do or what to look for. The first thing an attorney can do is receive discovery and begin to review it to identify weaknesses or strengths in the state's case. Once they've done that with you, they can start to send out investigators to speak to folks, potentially take reports, use those to negotiate or ask for dismissal. I see you already have a motion for dismissal in your file. So if you wanted to improve your motion, an attorney could review that, make it conform with state law, and then use their investigators to try and find additional evidentiary supports to improve the strength of your motion. Without an attorney, you will be at a significant disadvantage at a pretrial posture. Do you understand that?
Well, I don't understand anything as I stand under nothing. I do comprehend the statements that you were giving and reflecting onto the court record.
He's just hitting all the greatest hits. Now that's what I call pseudo-legal bullshit.
But what I will have to say too
I don't stand under your authority.
is just
I wasn't driving, I'm traveling, and other 90s hits.
in regards to the aspect of saying that an attorney will improve anything that I'm doing, shows a little bit of bias and prejudice on the aspect that an attorney of some sort, as far as a representation, may be better than me as far as all of my full capacity, as far as my self-governance and right to self-govern in and of itself. So I'd just like to reflect that onto the court.
Okay, well, sir, you just indicated that you don't understand anything when I was asking you about what an attorney could do for you prior to going to trial.
David, thanks for subscribing on YouTube.
And so when the court is indicating that you might be at a disadvantage, it's because an attorney will have training and experience, will have been doing this for a number of years, and so they will understand the common procedural barriers that are going to be facing you. They'll be able to...
He shouldn't have said the word understand there. Cameron's going to take that to mean something entirely different than what the judge means.
Give you advice on how to surmount them, and also talk to you about other obstacles that might be completely invisible to you right now.
For sure.
Without having an attorney.
Most
So that's
definitely.
the first thing I wanted to impress upon you, and that's one of the disadvantages that you'll be at, is because since you've never been in this posture before, or as you've indicated, you've represented yourself previously, but you don't have that legal training, even if you've represented yourself once or twice before in
Presented, Judge.
different cases, possibly in different jurisdictions, that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to see all of the different obstacles that are in your path in this particular case. So that's a disadvantage that you'll be facing if you don't have a lawyer. Do you understand?
Again, Your Honor, just for clarification, just so we get a clarification of the word in itself, understand, I do not understand. In my aspect of the knowing of that definition would
Aspect is his filler word, by the way. Take a drink every time he says aspect.
mean that I'm standing under
Don't do that, you'll die.
something. I will say that I comprehend everything that you were saying, logically, intellectually as well. I don't need assistance in any manner. I think I can handle my own creator endowed rights. And
Okay, do you comprehend that a definition of the word understand is to fully comprehend the information that's being provided to you? It's not
in
necessarily...
that context, yes, sir.
Don't interrupt the court. It's not necessarily a literal statement about standing beneath something, such as you are standing under the ceiling right now. Sometimes understanding also means comprehending information that's being provided to you. Do you comprehend that?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay. So I want to make sure you comprehend your rights and comprehend the things that are happening in court before I allow you to represent yourself.
Hydrate.
Because you do have a constitutional right to represent yourself, but you are placing yourself in tremendous jeopardy by doing so, because again, there are a number of pitfalls and things that you won't know to look for that an attorney can assist you with. An attorney might also have access to resources that you don't, such as investigators or perhaps ways to try and secure experts to work on your case that you won't have the ability or knowledge to do on your own. And so those are some of the concerns I have just before we even get to the trial phase. Do you comprehend that?
I do, Your Honor. And again, just for the record, I will not be representing myself. I will be presenting myself in all matters.
Cameron, if you see this, there's no difference. No one says they're presenting themselves because it's just awkward and not how people speak colloquially when they're referring to, like, a lawsuit or any criminal proceeding. You represent yourself. It's not a literal statement of representing. It's just how we talk.
Okay, great. And so the next thing that an attorney could do for you is negotiate your case. They could call up Mr. Kummerman or whoever the attorney is on the case. Mr. Kummerman, who is the DA on this case?
Chiba Hawk with the Black's Law Dictionary. Representation. I'll look that up.
Nicole Mira.
Mira. Okay, so they could contact Ms. Mira and start to talk about your case. You have a motion to dismiss. They could start to impress upon them whether or not that was appropriate or try and seek out the best possible resolution for you. And then if you were choosing to go to trial, they could assist you with preparing your pretrial motions and give you advice on whether you should have a jury trial or a judge trial, because ultimately that will be a decision that you will make. You have a right to a jury trial, but you can also have a trial before a judge. And so they will know the local judges. They'll be able to assist you with the process of assigning this case to a specific judge. They'll be able to give you advice on jury selection, jury instructions, and then as you actually move into the case itself, they'll be able to assist you with subpoenaing witnesses into court, documents into court. They'll be able to make opening statements for you, question the state's witnesses by cross-examination.
Represent, to appear in the character of. Personate, to exhibit, to expose before the eyes. To represent a thing is to produce it publicly. To represent a person is to stand in his place, to speak or act with authority on behalf of such a person, to supply his place, or to act as his substitute or agent. Also, agent, power of appointment, representative.
They'll be able to question your witnesses after subpoenaing them. They'll give you advice on whether you should testify or remain silent. And then if you choose to testify, they'll be able to ask you questions that will allow you to provide your information in a way that is coherent and compelling. They will give you a better platform to stand on and make your message known than if you were simply speaking yourself, because again, they have that training and that experience. They will have been through the process before. Trial is an extremely stressful process. You're probably feeling some stress now, though maybe you won't because you've already been through this process before. But for many people, being in a courtroom is a stressful experience. And so an attorney will have less of that stress impacting their system.
I guarantee he has no stress. You have to be self-aware to have stress.
Because they've been through the process before, and they aren't the ones on trial, though they are coming with you into the trial. So they are better able to handle the stresses of trial and the different things that will occur at the last moment, because every trial has surprises and things that occur. And an attorney will know how to roll with that information and provide you with the best possible advice on how to deal with those circumstances as they occur. So do you understand that an attorney would also be a useful assistant for you as you move into trial as well? Do you comprehend that?
I do not.
Okay, so tell me what part of that you don't comprehend.
I'm better than a lawyer, Your Honor. How dare you say I'm not as good as a person who went to school to do this? I'm so good. If I needed a surgery, I'd go do it myself too, because I'm better than those stupid doctors too.
I don't comprehend that anybody would be better suited to help me defend my own matters than myself.
And that's why it's probably not gonna go great.
Well, sir, as I'm trying to decide whether or not you are knowingly waiving your right to counsel.
Most definitely.
The court needs to make sure that you comprehend the risks and the benefits that come with representing yourself as opposed to having an attorney assigned to your case.
I guess in definitions as far as what you see as risks or not would be on your own opinions. I don't see any risks from defending myself.
Even actual lawyers don't want to defend themselves because you're too close to it. You can't make objective decisions. Come on, man.
All right. Are you able to comprehend anything that I'm telling you about an attorney's ability to subpoena witnesses in a court?
I comprehend that I can subpoena witnesses on my own.
Do you know how to subpoena a witness in a court?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay. And do you comprehend that an attorney could give you advice on whether to testify or not testify?
I'm sure they could give me advice, and I comprehend that they could, but I don't think it would be best.
And do you understand some of the pitfalls that you could be facing?
He's 1,000% gonna testify, and it's gonna be so bad.
You testify yourself.
I do not see any pitfalls from me speaking the truth.
Oh yeah, he's gonna go up there and spout so much bullshit.
Creator as the best witness of the statement of facts as they occurred.
Okay. And the court can't give you legal advice, so I'm going to stop short of giving you legal advice, but again, I'm trying to make sure that you understand that you are facing tremendous risk and you will be at a disadvantage if you represent yourself rather than having a lawyer by your side.
Well, Your Honor, first off, I'm Cameron James Wilson. I'm a living man, okay? I'm appearing here
I am a man!
I'm not appearing here generally. It's by special appearance only. It's number
None of that means anything, Cameron. You're wasting your breath.
one. I'm not in the person for limited and express purpose of challenging the tribunal's jurisdiction here today, okay?
Person is not a corporation, Cameron. You're not a corporation. A person can mean a corporation in the law, but it can also mean a human being. Cameron James Wilson, the human being. I understand that under the legal definition of person is also a corporation, but if you look at the other definitions, it also just means a human being. That's the definition you fall under. They're not charging you as a corporation. They're charging you as a human being.
Over my person and the subject matter of these proceedings. Straight up. I appear here as a sovereign individual endowed by creator and unalienable rights that predate and transcend
Unalienable.
any governmental authority whatsoever. I do not waive any rights, remedies, or defenses, whether procedural or substantive, whether at law or in equity. And I expressly reserve all rights under UCC 1-308, which is also codified in Oregon revised statutes. Before these proceedings advance any further, I must respectfully but firmly challenge this tribunal's jurisdiction.
Here's the first mention of jurisdiction.
In toto, and move for an immediate dismissal of all charges based upon the fundamental constitutional violations and the complete absence of lawful authority to
I'll pause you
proceed.
there, sir. I'll pause you there. So the court has seen your motion for...
You see what I mean? He thought he was gonna, in the thing we watched... Did I press play on this music? Sorry. Remember earlier when we watched his, like, straw man fake script? He thought they were gonna let him go for, like, 10 minutes on jurisdiction. They stopped him after 15 seconds. Cameron, does that not make you think, huh? Maybe I don't know how this shit works. Fenekagami says, Citizens United really fucked up more than just our ability to regulate corporations, didn't it? Yeah, we're not okay.
Dismissal. It is premised in some ways on a motion to suppress. The court is not taking up motions to suppress today, so what I'm going to do is take that under advisement. That is something that a trial judge will consider at a later date.
Thank you, Your Honor.
At this juncture, again, has anyone threatened you to give up your right to have an attorney assist you on this case? Has anyone threatened you to make you come before the court and say you want to represent yourself?
There has been no threats whatsoever.
Okay. Are you under the influence of any medications, drugs, or alcohol?
No, sir.
Okay. And you also understood that an attorney could give you advice at the time of sentencing if you were convicted. Is that something you comprehend?
I comprehend, but again, I explicitly have expressed my rights, waiving my rights to any representation whatsoever. I do not need someone to speak on behalf of me. I'm not a ward of the court, nor am I an infant.
Court satisfied, so I'm going to grant your waiver.
You could have fooled me with how much you cry and whine.
Represent yourself. And then, Mr. Kummerman, I'm inclined to send this to a trial judge immediately. Anything from the state?
No, Your Honor, that would be the state's request.
Okay, so I'm going to assign this to a trial judge. Can we do that in court? Can we make an exception?
Your Honor, I'd like to address a jurisdictional issue.
Go ahead.
Hey, little Miss
so with
May,
all-
hope you're doing well, too.
With all due respect, the jurisdiction is a threshold issue that must be addressed before any other proceedings can take place. As established in Steele Co. versus Citizens for a Better Environment in 1998, the court must establish its jurisdiction before proceeding to the merits of any case. I have raised substantial challenges to this tribunal's personal jurisdiction, subject matter jurisdiction, and territorial jurisdiction. These challenges must be resolved before any plea can be entered or any other proceedings can take place. So I respectfully demand that this tribunal address these jurisdictional challenges before proceeding any further.
This court will make a threshold jurisdictional finding that this court has jurisdiction, reserving the right for you to develop your argument further. Again, finding that there are suppression issues that are attached to your challenge to jurisdiction. That'll be something that is considered by a trial judge at a motion hearing date. This case is assigned to Judge Armstrong at the downtown courthouse. Sir, I'm going to release you today with some conditions. They will include that you obey the law and that you attend your next.
Oh, that's rough for him. He's gonna drive away in a car with no license, no insurance. He's immediately gonna break the conditions of this.
Court date. And then Judge Armstrong typically has court.
Since they're releasing him of his own recognizance with that as a thing, if he gets pulled over with no license, are they gonna pull him in and put him in jail until the time of his trial? That wouldn't be good for him. He'd be very, very upset.
On Wednesdays at 1:10.
I agree they should. I just don't know if they will.
Do you have a preferred number of weeks before you return for Judge Armstrong's court?
Yeah, I got depositions coming up next month.
This hearing was 2 days ago.
Let's see. I'm looking at mid-August until I'm going to be next available.
Okay, we'll have this come back August 13 at 1:10 with Judge Armstrong. That is
No updates since 2 days ago now.
without a plea at this juncture. And then, Mr. Wilson, if you change your mind and wish to hire an attorney, you're more than welcome to do so. You can always readdress the court if you apply for court-appointed counsel. And then, before you leave, I'm going to have you sign your release agreement with those terms. Again, obey the law, and make sure you come back to court for that future court date. I'll have you have a seat on the front bench.
Just one more, Your Honor.
Sure, go ahead.
I've had real trouble getting any kind of information as far as discovery or anything is concerned from Salem Police Department, risk management, and the likes. I would like to get an order, if available and possible, that you could give over to the state to go ahead and release discovery so I can go ahead and try and defend my matters in this case.
Okay, and I note that you didn't list the district attorney's office. I would encourage you to stay in contact with the district attorney's office. They should be able to provide you with reports. Now that you've identified yourself as representing yourself and the court has approved that, they should be able to release those documents to you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And for the record,
That makes it very much sound like they had already explained to him, we gotta do the arraignment first so that they can show on the record you're your own attorney so we can release the discovery directly to you. That's funny.
Your Honor, the defendant did try to address myself prior to the court today, I just looked through our internal file, which noted that he was requesting to represent himself, but wasn't allowed quite yet, or hadn't officially filed whatever he may have needed to do so. Obviously now he has done so we can further those discussions.
Okay, so Mr. Wilson, I expect you'll get those reports immediately from the DA's office. If you don't, then you can readdress with Judge Armstrong a request for a motion to compel decision.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I would lastly note, Your Honor, that unless there's some sort of electronic means established, the defendant would even personally come to our office at 555 Court Street Northeast, 3rd floor, to obtain that discovery. And there may be a delay in needing to redact certain information to provide him with a packet of discovery.
Okay, well, I'll direct the state to make sure that discovery is prepared as quickly as possible. And then, Mr. Wilson, you can talk to the state about retrieving.
Yeah, it's been a big hassle. I live, 4.5, 5 hours away. And the initial 2 charges that were brought.
Man, if I thought that was an issue, I probably wouldn't intentionally break the law hours away from where I live. Probably if you can't deal with going to court 4 or 5 hours from where you live, I'd probably not intentionally drive without a license 4 or 5 hours away from where you live for that reason. Have you considered a little bit that this is your fault, Cameron? Have you considered a lot of it that this is your fault?
4th were dropped, and then they just placed this interference. So it's pretty egregious. I think there's a big prosecutorial misconduct going on here. If we have to pursue any civil claims, we'll go from there. But I do appreciate the court today.
Okay,
Thank you. Have a good one.
He absolutely needs to get legally destroyed to stop this shit. We're gonna watch a little more of the conference that he and some other sovereign citizen influencers put on a little bit ago. Right after I use the bathroom, and I'll fill up my water, stretch my legs. So I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. It's mid-show, so I'll do my little spiel. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor and like the stream. I'd appreciate it. If you want to help, we're near the end of the month. This actually, I think, is the last stream we're doing this month. So if you want to help get closer to this month's sub goal, gift subs are always helpful. We are doing the Patreon and YouTube member stream after this, so if you want to be a part of that, become a member on YouTube or join the Patreon as a paid member. All right, while I'm gone, Chair will tell you about Hanna-Barbera's Chuck Norris Karate Commandos. I needed this in my collection, obviously. How could I live without Chuck Norris Karate Commandos? I'll definitely watch that before I die. This isn't just a waste of plastic sitting in my house reminding me of all the money that could have gone towards Bill. No, I'm joking. Someone sent this to me. All right, I'll be back. Bye. Okay, I'm back. There's a Black's Law Dictionary request. Rick M. asks I look at page 462, definition 7. I'll do that, and then we'll start this video. 462. Four. 6. 462, what was it? Definition 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Efficient. Causing an effect, particularly the result or result of contemplated adequate in performance or producing properly a desired effect. Spots versus Baltimore. We did it. Okay.
Thank you. Yo, that's lit. That made me feel good. Boy, I'm in the mood now. What? For real. Something that I'm wanting to get into today is again, the irreparable harm and going into the depths of that. One thing real quick, and then I'm gonna let Brandon kind of speak on it because he was touching base really good last night on this when we were speaking about it. But yesterday we had 2 of our Operation Wise Dome members go to court. One had an evidentiary hearing, the other had a jurisdictional hearing. My boy Hayden, who had his...
What is this? This is a sovereign citizen convention that a lot of sovereign citizen influencers were at recently. Cameron seemed to be the main guy, but you had some other people like this guy, what is his name? Brandon... something. I forget his name, but he's also a SovCit influencer.
Evidentiary hearing 4 months ago reached out to me. Didn't know nothing. Never even been in a court before ever in his life. Had an attorney. I think this was his first DUI. I don't think it was...
By the way, I saw, if this is the DUI I'm thinking of, I saw the audio of that. The guy was drunk, in my opinion. So Cameron's saying, like, it was a bullshit DUI. Again, if it's the case I'm thinking of that was posted to their channel, no, I think the guy was drunk. So, pretty gross that he's trying to help get actual DUI people off, you know?
It's not a legit DUI, but the aspect is...
Yeah, I think it was.
He had no experience in court whatsoever. Nothing. Didn't study, nothing. He had an attorney that he paid this attorney $5,000. The attorney claimed to work 55 hours, and all he had filed was a motion to the DMV. Not even to the court, y'all. So, like, to the DMV is pretty bad. Didn't get no discovery or anything. And at that point, when he first came to me, it was, I think their offer was just like a settlement to kind of negotiate, right? There was just plea agreement. And he was nervous about that because, of course, he don't want to have to go...
He lies about laws. I want to make a point of order to say it depends on how you define a lie. It's certainly untrue what he is saying, and his interpretations are untrue. But he's not intentionally lying. Cameron is legitimately deranged. Cameron believes everything he's saying. He's wrong. He's delusional, but he believes what he's saying. I do want to make that distinction.
Through all that, he's losing his license.
For whatever it's worth.
Everything like that. So when he comes in, he was very skeptical, very nervous. Wouldn't believe anything I was saying, like straight up. Wouldn't believe me. He was just skeptical all the way. And he came in, kept listening, got some other validation from some other people. And as he continued to learn and develop and go through procedure and process, he built himself up so well that he's running the court, y'all. Like literally running the court all on his own after dropping the attorney. Now, he lost $5,000 on the attorney, unfortunately. But the aspect is that we go from a plea agreement.
There's that aspect again. He says aspect. It's his filler word. I said this earlier.
With the attorney after paying $5,000 to him getting in there, defending himself, and then them speaking.
By the way, someone in chat pointed that out to me originally. I forget who it was who pointed out that his filler word is aspect. Thanks for that.
On, well, we're just going to drop it down to a reckless driving, right? Well, when he didn't want to accept that reckless, they again started initiating, well, we're just going to move forward then. You think you're bad? You think you're good? You think you got what it takes? We're going to test your ass. And they...
I mean, that's how negotiations for settlements work, is they are willing to, in order for you to give a guilty plea to drop it, to a lower charge, and if you don't do that, they're going to take you to court. Yep, that's how it works.
They did. So as they come across testing him, he's nervous. Ain't no lie, ain't no cap about that. My boy.
To be clear, I do see the issue with that. I understand how plea deals, because of how packed the courts have gotten, can be incredibly coercive, even in an instance where someone is actually innocent, but just is intimidated by the system. I understand that. I understand that there are issues with the system. I'm not saying there aren't. I'm just saying his particular interpretation is much more conspiratorial and intentionally malicious than the reality of the situation.
Freaking out, shaking, all over the place. We calm him down. We empower him by letting him know who he is and how much power he truly has. So as we're going through this whole process, which what you'll notice, and others will tell you in here as they come up and speak maybe about it if they do, but we go from an aspect of not knowing who we are to who we are and having full power and retaining that power and instilling it to where others listen because the energy is being put forth. And this is not in a combative way, right? It's kind of how like, if you ever, about sovereign citizens, you've heard about what sovereign citizens been doing over the past 6 years. They fight the police, right? Fuck the police. Break these goddamn windows. Fuck it, right? That's the mode, that's the way. But that hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. The division, us against them, has not worked. It's not going to work. So everything that I've been doing has been a unification of bringing us together. So as we've been...
If he genuinely, and he'll get into this a little bit more, but like he basically thinks he's going to convince cops that he's right and get cops to be on his side. That's his whole thing here, is he thinks he's going to convince all of the cops in America that actually sovereign citizens have been right all along. I don't think I need to express why that's delusional. Generty with a 21 month says, why am I surprised there's a Sobsit convention? Also, Ian McKellen joined in on a song at Glastonbury and read a monologue in the most hilariously over-the-top way imaginable. Also, Peter Capaldi sang at one point. Rad. Freyline says, oh, this is super culty. The talk about finding your true self, he's so scary. Do you guys see why I'm obsessed with this man now? Do you see? Do you see? Click next slide on my Red Dragon obsession slideshow while you're taped to an antique wheelchair. You're just my little Dustin Hoffman's not Dustin Hoffman. What's his fucking name? He's dead. He's dead. Philip Seymour Hoffman? You're my little Philip Seymour Hoffmans, aren't you, chat? The things I say make sense in my head.
Brought together. Hayden yesterday had this evidentiary hearing. It was 2.5 hours. He deposed the cop for a full hour. And the judge comes out and says, you know what? Everything from this point forward needs to be suppressed. They're trying to bring everything in. But Hayden was able to get the judge yesterday on the record to say everything must be dismissed from the point of the stop. Would that ever been applicable if he wouldn't have been able to teach himself with everybody else in our group? No.
Andrew Colleen, thanks for following.
Support each other very heavily.
Also calling himself the I Am. Yeah, he has sort of like a spiritual belief. He's got that thing where like he's like, we're all creations of the source and we're all aspects of the source, so we're all God. He's one of those people who's like, we're all God, man. Like, okay, if everyone's God, then no one is. Like, that doesn't mean anything then, man. What the fuck are you talking about? Stop doing so many drugs.
All of you right now to go look at your email from me and join Operation Wise Dome through the Discord. Everybody gets it for free, okay?
To be clear, I like drugs as next as the next addict. I'm just saying, like, when it starts to shape your worldview, it's time to put the drugs down.
I want y'all to join. Brandon, you want to go ahead and speak a couple words on that? Just Operation Wise, which some of the things you were saying last night, they were very empowering.
Yeah, so hi guys. Good morning.
Wait. We don't say good morning.
Grand Rising.
Yeah.
We don't say good morning, we say grand rising. What about the thing about language control and cults? Is that anyone in the class? What do we have pertaining to language control and special definitions within cults? Jitara says, whoa, Grand Rising, that's a Hotep thing. Yep, it sure is. Do. Hey, Nemesaur, how's it going?
We don't mourn a damn thing. Do you mourn anything? I'm not mourning. Well, not now.
Happy pickle.
There's a time for that. But right now, we're rising with greatness, all right?
Sun's up.
Let's go.
Hey, I'm learning too, you know? So,
Brandon Joe Williams. That's the white guy's name.
yeah, so I was there last night. I only got about 2 hours of sleep yesterday, so I was kind of dying. I got back, I was like, oh man, this is, oh boy. You know?
What's wrong with good morning? They think that good morning means mourning, as in, like, someone's died and you're in mourning. So they think it's somehow a secret negative thing. It's that semantic obsession again that a lot of conspiracy theorists get. It's called a delusion of reference. They think that something is communicating something that in fact it is not, but they perceive it to be that. It's a delusion of reference. It's the actual psychological term.
I got a little more sleep
Found that out a while back.
today, feeling better. I'll probably start screaming at some point. You know, you guys can be excited about that. He had this dude on the iPad or whatever it was, and I thought it was amazing because he's there and I was laughing. He looks like a guy out of Office Space, and he has this tie out, and he's got a beer in his hand. He looks like he just came back from fucking war, right? And it was the funniest thing in the world. And he's like, yeah, I did 2.5 hours in a hearing. And I'm like, every time I hear I was in a hearing, I'm always like, God damn it. Nobody ever gives me a fucking hearing, man. Never. I'll never do it. Gets me so mad. And then I see this guy looking like fucking, what's his face, the main character from Office Space with this shit, this beer. And he's like, yeah, I had a hearing and I deposed this cop for an hour. And I'm like, damn. I'm about ready to go bust in my own fucking windows, bro. I swear to God. And he's just like, yeah, and he was just like totally, you know, coming down off the high of being so fucking terrified and so fucking excited. And I was just blown away, because this guy's how new to this?
Say that again?
How new is he to this?
Not even, I guess, 3 months for Hayden?
Yeah, 3 months. He's like slamming this fucking cop through a deposition for a fucking hour of questions in a courtroom in a 2.5-hour proceeding. I was just like, it just blew me away, because I've just never seen anything like that. We don't even see anything like that really in our group, in our private group. Joey's in there. I mean, we don't see a whole lot of, well, there's some criminal stuff in our private group, but it's mainly civil, but still.
I'm gonna see if we can get Cameron back, because honestly, when this guy's not yelling about stuff, he's not as interesting. There we go.
And once any aching, in conjunction with that, there's no greater.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, bro. Yeah, it was really good. What I wanted to say, you ready? Can everybody give Hayden a round of applause real quick? Is that all right? Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it's like I told him last night, bro. Like, I'm so proud of you, and I love this event. Don't get me wrong, but yesterday Hayden was the highlight of my day. I'm just gonna be honest with you, because all the time I put into people to see it actually flourish and manifest and become real, there's no greater happiness than that.
The white guy gives intergroup loyal follower vibes. To be clear, I'm not saying right now they are a cult. I do think that Cameron Wilson has the makings of a cult leader, potentially, if he wanted to, which I hope he doesn't want to, and this feels like it has some momentum in that direction. But I would say if it was a cult, Cameron is the good cop, and Brandon Joe Williams is the bad cop. Cameron's the guy that does, like, the love bombing and telling everyone how great they are. And Brandon, the angry guy, is the guy that says fuck you and yells at people on behest of probably Cameron, but it gives the view within the cult that Cameron is this great person that just loves everyone, and the other guy's the guy that would be like, fuck you! You know what I'm saying? If you've watched enough cult documentaries, you probably know what I'm talking about.
When you
that dynamic.
See somebody in pain and sorrow and hurt, and to give that empowerment of knowledge to where they're flourishing, that is like the most wonderful thing, and I'm so thankful. So what we're going to go over is irreparable harm, okay? Irreparable harm is a big deal. It is my baby, okay? It's injunction. It's stopping the damn courts, all right? I know we talk about a lot of the private processes and things like that, and you know, people always want a silver bullet. Oh, we're just gonna file this one paperwork and everything's gonna be taken care of. It don't fucking work like that, 10 straight up, okay? There's a process. I go through the process, but I go through it very deeply so that you know what you need to do. So at its heart,
he is so incredibly charismatic at this, it shocks me.
The doctrine of
it really does. He's wrong at everything he's saying, but he says it so effortlessly. He says it with such an effortless, I don't know how to describe it, almost like sermon-esque. Like he delivers it like he's delivering the word of God. It's just like so interesting.
Irreparable harm stands as more than a technical standard for granting injunctions. But let's actually just take one step back. Let's look up what is irreparable harm. Irreparable harm is a legal term that refers to harm or injury that cannot be adequately compensated or remedied by any monetary awards or damages that may be awarded later. Irreparable harm is a necessary requirement for a court to grant a preliminary injunction in conjunction with a temporary restraining order. Does anybody here ever used injunctions? One time? What'd you use it for? Okay, to keep them from taking a vehicle. Did you know you can actually use a TRO against any agency or corporation? That includes governmental agencies and corporations. Did you know that? Yep, sure can. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate you, brother. The movement, you all, or party seeking an injunction usually has to prove that they will suffer irreparable harm if the injunction is not granted. Is not granted. This is
if him and Brandon fight, the group is done for? I don't think so. I think Cameron would win out because he's the likable one.
Because the purpose of an
he could get rid of Brandon and it wouldn't matter to him at all.
Injunction is to prevent
and Brandon has his own thing. Brandon's been around longer, but like Cameron's likable, unlike Brandon. So I think most of the followers would stick with Cameron.
Further harm, right?
Cameron's also the better presenter.
Before it actually occurs. And once harm has occurred, it may be too late to adequately compensate the injured party. Now, some examples of that. Where are we at? Deprivation of constitutional rights. Deprivation of constitutional rights. Under Title 18, Section 242, the deprivation of rights under color of law. Everybody knows what color of law is, right? Can somebody give me the definition of colorable law? Do you know?
He goes back and forth between color of law, which is the term I typically hear, but then he'll start referring to it as colorable law. And I don't know why he does that. I don't know why he says it that way, because he'll say it correctly sometimes, color of law, but then a lot of the time he will say colorable law. I don't know why he does that. He just pronounces words incorrectly sometimes, quite randomly. Like, and it's not even like a reading thing. Like, I understand when you're reading a document sometimes, but when he's speaking, he just mispronounces words. I know he had a severe car accident where he lost his leg. So I'm wondering if he had, like, a traumatic brain injury or something. I don't know. It's just interesting. Notable.
Oh, okay, here you go. What's up?
It's like when people think some bullshit is legal when it's actually just been generally accepted by a bunch of normies and they kind of validate the nonsense.
Straight up.
Yeah, he only has one leg. He has a prosthetic.
The normies. I love it. Perfect.
He brings it up to cops a lot when he thinks it'll help his case.
We're going to get a little bit more legalese on you. Whoever, under any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, custom, willfully subjects any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured or protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States, or to different punishments, pains, penalties, on account of such person being an alien or by any of whatever the case may be. These are deprivations of your rights, secured liberties, sacred liberties, creator-endowed rights. We're not going to take a...
Does anyone else notice I'm getting like a weird rogue / Nancy Thompson fucking white streak here? If I'm going gray, it's not the worst way to go, because I really like the fucking one white streak look, but what the fuck?
Deprivation...
Sorry, ADHD thought.
...of rights under the color of law, that facade. It's not real law. It's not real law. It's a statute. It's a code. It's a policy. It has no precedent over you unless, what? Perfectly said. The exact word. Consent. Consent of the governed, right? Everything is based on contract. You have to give up something to receive something. I'm not giving up my rights to receive a privilege. I don't need it. I don't need it. This is where we get into the irreparable harm and injunction aspect. And as you'll see,
your beard's going gray and you're 35. That'll work out for you, though. Salt and pepper, like beards and stuff, are like really hot. So that'll probably work out.
Of constitutional rights.
Your beard's growing white. That's fine, too. You'll be fine.
Depriving someone of their constitutional rights, such as the right to free speech, the right to locomotion, the right to self-govern. You have a right to govern yourself. If someone else is trying to govern you, you've lost that right. And that is a violation of your creator-endowed rights. If you're getting deprived of any of your rights, this causes irreparable harm that cannot be fully compensated. We have life, liberty, and the pursuit of what, everybody? Happiness. Say it again. Life, liberty, and the what?
Did you know that the pursuit of happiness means that you can't make me get a driver's license? Okay,
now we're going to say it all together, all three. Y'all ready? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If any of those things gets violated, it's irreparable harm. Your happiness gets violated, it's irreparable harm. Now do you see the depths of this? If you've never harmed a single person, if your happiness is violated, irreparable harm. Send it up. We ain't fucking around with these little courses no more.
I'm so tired.
Bro, I ain't got no power over me. You're an administrator.
I like that he's like, anytime the cops make you not happy, that's a civil lawsuit. I don't know, man. I don't think that's correct.
Administrator. And let's just show you how much of an administrator they really are. Y'all think judges got power? They're really not even judges. You're over here calling them a judge. They ain't even a judge. It's crazy. Now, do we all know, what is a police department? Can anybody tell me? An agency. It's an agency. Is it also a corporation? Yes. Okay. It's a window breaking facility. It is most definitely a window breaking facility.
It's actually not for most people. Fun fact, the vast majority of people will never have their window broken by a police officer. That's a sovereign citizen thing that's very specific to you guys. So if you'd stop having your windows broken.
It is an irreparable harm factory, if we're getting honest with you. It's pretty bad. So judges who become involved in the enforcement of mere statutes. Colorable law, we just went over that, right?
See, he's doing it.
Colorable law, it's a facade. Whether it's civil, criminal in nature, and otherwise being that quasi-criminal, those traffic tickets, act as mere clerks of the involved agency. Holy shit. You're telling me you're a fucking clerk? You're the highest clerk of this corporation. That's it.
You can call them whatever they want. They can arrest you and take you to jail and charge you with crimes, Cameron. Calling them clerks to try and belittle them doesn't change the material reality. What a bizarre argument.
Supposed court becoming thus a court of limited jurisdiction as a mere extension of the involved agency, corporation, police department. They're nothing but an extension. Mere superior reviewing purposes. That's all you fuckers got? Really? Damn, okay. When acting to enforce a
Ben Kagami says, listening to Sovsids just reminds me that after we got out of the fascist hell we're in, we're basically have to completely rebuild the government. Hell, we're probably going to rewrite the Constitution because of all the damage that's been done to how everything functions, not to mention the fact that the Constitution has been due for an update for a while. Not that it'll matter to Sovsids, they'll just claim it as justification for why their bullshit's real. I think you're way ahead of us if you think I'm not as optimistic as you with that first sentence. Oh, honey. Never mind.
Statute, the judge of
when we get out of this. What do you mean when? The fuck?
Municipal.
You know things can just get worse, right? Things can just get worse and worse and worse. There's no guarantee things get better in any way. Things can just get worse for the rest of our lives, and then we die.
Court is acting.
Sorry, that's not very optimistic. That's not fun to listen to. Fun things, jokes. Look, I'm wearing a silly costume. Ha 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 ha.
As an administrative officer. And not as a judicial capacity, or not in a judicial capacity. Courts in administrating or enforcing statutes do not act judicially, but merely administrally. They're administrations. That's it. That's all they are. So do they truly have power over you and I? No. Unless what? Consent. Why are you consenting to be governed? Why are you?
The consent of the governed does not and has never meant that you need the consent of every individual personally to have rules apply to them. I can't even imagine that this is some sort of way that anyone would read this. It's so absurd.
Are you consenting to be told what to do? Can't you do it yourself? Can you?
Self-governing, in reference to the United States, is about how we have representatives. We have a representative democracy. It doesn't mean that you, the individual, get to do whatever the fuck you want.
Do it yourself. Nah, it don't sound, y'all weak. Can you do it yourself? Yeah! Fuck yeah, I love it. Oh! Okay.
I don't have a point to make with that noise. I just thought it was worth pausing for a second for us to all integrate that into our brains.
Every consent involves a submission. But it, by no means, follows that a mere submission involves consent. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So if I'm submitting after you done, boy, you don't do what I say, you're gonna get arrested. It's not necessarily consent, it's under threat and duress. Coercion. Can't do that. We're gonna get you for that, boy. For real,
He does give off cult leader vibes, at least to you. Same.
Wanted to show y'all that on the judges real quick. Let's see where. You have to hit me up and I'll give it to you.
What's the difference between a republic and a democracy? They're describing different aspects of society. They're not mutually exclusive. We're a republic and a representative democracy. We're a republic because the governments are made up of like different smaller governments, local governments, state governments that have their own sovereignty compared to each other. But then you have this higher level of federal government above it that mediates conflicts between the states and creates, in many cases, sets of general rules that apply everywhere, but the states still maintain their own unique sovereignty to maintain and create laws and stuff within their own jurisdictions, within their own states. We are a democracy because we vote for representatives to go and make decisions in the legislature. So we are both a republic and a representative democracy.
That's why you want to be in the Discord. That's why you want to be in Operation Wise Dome. Because you literally can ask, not only me, but pretty much anybody in there, and they're going to make sure to get you the right information. It's what we do for each other. Why? Because I am you, and we are us, and we are all a part of the great I am. You got that? I want y'all to say it. I am you. We are us. All a part of the great I am.
Amber's telling me republic means we don't have a king. You're describing federalism. All right. You're the history person.
Straight up.
Black's Law Request.
It is a reflective statement on the
What do you want me to look up?
fragility and preciousness of certain rights and conditions, realities that no monetary award or related apology can ever truly restore once lost. By insisting that courts intervene before damage becomes irreversible, irreparable harm serves as a mighty
Impersonating will do.
shield for the bedrock values of our self-governing republic. It's like we forgot that. It's like we literally forgot that. Yesterday, when I was speaking on the aspects of that 1940 joint resolution, some people don't agree with me, and that's okay. We ain't got to agree on everything, but what I will say is this 1940 joint resolution has given me a different perspective, if I can get this big enough for y'all, has given me a different perspective on how I need to look at things and how maybe we have looked too deep into definitions to really understand or look and figure out what was going on in the context of that time period, okay? Let's see, so if we zoom this in. So this
Impersonation. False impersonation is representing oneself to be a public officer or employee or a person licensed to practice or engage in any profession or vocation for which a license is required, like being a lawyer, which a license is required by state with knowledge that such a representation is false, the act of pretending or representing oneself to be another, commonly a crime, if the other is a public official or police officer. But you don't understand, he's not representing himself as an attorney, he's presenting himself. Clearly, there's a difference.
This joint resolution, as I was talking to y'all yesterday, authorizing the President of the United States to proclaim, I am, number one. The first two, I am an American. Citizenship Day for the recognition, observance,
Benny Kagami with 40 bits says, how often do you think a cult leader kind of just fell into it? Like, do all cult leaders build a cult with the intent of doing so, like Trump did? Or do sometimes a person just has a belief that he follows strongly and has charisma, draws to him them, and the gravity of the situation creates the cult by accident? I don't know. I don't know the academic, like research on cults enough to say that. It's an interesting question. I would hypothesize that some people kind of just fall into it, but I don't know. I don't know. There's certainly people who do it intentionally, though. Look at, like, Charles Manson was definitely doing that intentionally. So I don't know.
in commemoration of American citizenship. Now, when I hear sovereigns...
We have a little under an hour left. This is the last time I'll do my little calls to action. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor, like the stream. We are doing the Patreon and YouTube member stream after this, so if you want to be a part of that and watch a movie together, make sure you join the Patreon or become a member on YouTube. This is also the last day of the month that we're going to be streaming, I think, because I have electrolysis tomorrow. So if you want to help out, get closer to the sub goal, you can always gift subs or become a subscriber. Oh, Nemesaur, thanks for gifting 20 Tier 1 subs. Look at that, and like that, we're only 19 away from this month's sub goal. That might be it for the month. If so, that's great. We got very close. But if you want to help out and get closer, you too can also gift subs. God, I'm such a bitch. I'm such a bitch for begging for money. I'm sorry. I wouldn't do this if I didn't have to. I hate myself. Thank you, Nemesaur. Anyway, continuing with the video.
Citizen, what I hear is free American. Because as Americans, we have a duty, right? We have a duty to morally look out for each and every one of us. We the people on that hat, right? That is the I am. Whereas some 2 million young men and women in the United States each year...
Do we get more proceeds via Tip, YouTube, or Twitch? Tip is the one I get the most, but all are good. I did get a tip, by the way. Viz with a $3 tip says, thanks for the great content. No problem. Thanks for watching.
Age of 21 years. There goes that 3 again. The Trinity. And where it is desirable.
Why is he throwing the fucking Trinity in there? What is he talking about?
The Trinity. And where it is desirable. Where it is desirable that the sovereign citizens of our nation be prepared for the responsibility and impressed with the significance of their status in our self-governing republic. What other context do you need? Literally, how powerful is that? That they sit here and diminish the sovereign citizen term, yet the sovereign citizen term is shown that we are impressed with the most significance of the status in our self-governing republic. Not a democracy, not a fucking republic.
Oh, God, he's not doing either. Okay.
Well, I guess it is a republic, but it's self-governing. Big difference.
I cannot believe he thinks self-governing means you get to just do whatever you want. That's a wild interpretation, and it's so funny.
So in doing so, it echoes both constitutional design and biblical wisdom, protecting those facets of human existence, freedom of conscious, association, and individual dignity, whose injuries are far deeper than dollars can heal. Traditionally, legal redress has often taken the form of compensatory damages, financial sums awarded after an injury is proven. But financial remedies, while crucial in many civil disputes, falter gravely when encountering tangible or profound deprivations. If a municipality, for instance, shutters a congregation's place of worship under dubious regulations, no stack of money can recapture that loss of sense of unity and spiritual nourishment. You can't get it back. You can't gain back what you've lost. There's no amount of money that can give you back that.
Depraved Ambiance says, hey, Cameron, what does the Bible say, Abel, about the freedom of female slaves? Are they self-governing? He'd laugh at you because he doesn't consider himself Christian. Cameron is not Christian. He did a video a while back where someone called him a Christian and he laughed about it. He has his own weird spiritual beliefs where he combines stuff from Christianity and other religions. He's got a whole thing. So that wouldn't be the gotcha you think it is. He doesn't necessarily think the Bible's holy or real.
Happiness that you were supposed to have in that very moment, right? How are you supposed to get monetarily compensated for that? There's no type of money that can repair that. Especially if you have some sort of PTSD or mental issues that you got to work through. Like, what kind of monetary value would you put on PTSD for the next 5 years? Could you even do that? Like, what would that cost? I don't know any amount of money that would actually fix 5 years of PTSD and harm.
He just referenced it, though? Oh, yeah, he'll reference it because he likes to give, a weird spiritual gravitas to whatever he's doing, even though he doesn't really, identify with that specific religion. He'll take verbiage and aspects of it to make him seem spiritual and holy and like he's getting abject truth from source.
Really, I don't value money like that. What I value is relationships, memories, times.
So is he okay with being called a sovereign citizen if a cop or a judge says it? Because it seems that most sovcits aren't. No, he will call himself a sovereign citizen in relation to these old documents he found, but he gets really offended if anyone else calls him a sovereign citizen. He's a hypocrite.
All of those.
He wants to have it both ways.
Those things are way more valuable than any kind of monetary thing that can be given to me. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, agree.
Happiness. Experiences. Most important. So let me see here. We got spiritual dimensions of this. Now, why I think this irreparable harm is so important is because, we got freedom of religion. If you want to do religion, you can do that. But I'd rather just say freedom of belief, freedom of faith as you choose. So if you have that freedom of choice to believe as you believe, and you believe that you are the highest of authority and that nobody can come and take that away from you, and yet there's still some people that would like to do that, that's irreparable harm. Spiritual dimensions of what cannot be replaced. The intangible losses that irreparable harm addresses, such as spiritual communion, familial unity, personal dignity, or even free expression, right to locomotion.
Can we get Marcel in this group? No, Marcel wouldn't last 5 minutes in this group because this group actually tries to navigate differences. This is what scares me about Cameron, is he's as dangerous as Marcel, but he has restraint and social skills. Marcel is interesting, and he damages people, but it's usually pretty short-term damage. Like, people will talk to Marcel and they'll, team up with him for maybe 1 to 3 months at most, because he always freaks out and alienates himself from other people. Cameron is dangerous because he doesn't do that. Cameron is really good at having interpersonal skills. He's really good at recruiting people and maintaining relationships with them. That's what makes him dangerous, is he's Marcel's, he has the stupid, crazy beliefs Marcel has, but he can navigate social situations in a really outstanding way. And, like, I'm sorry that I'm complimenting the guy, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. He's charismatic, and he's very capable of manipulating people. I'm not sitting here saying he's thinking to himself, I'm going to manipulate these people. I don't think he's doing that. He's just trying to convince them, and he's very convincing, despite how wrong he is, because he's confident, and he's charismatic, and he clearly is confident in everything he's saying. Like, it's scary.
Hold a central place in the divine scheme, because you are divine. These gifts often transcend a purely economic valuation. The psalmist, for instance, proclaims that a single day in the courts of the Lord is better than 1,000 elsewhere, implying that spiritual blessings found in communion with God are unparalleled by any worldly compensation. Yes, sir, I agree. Most definitely. Wouldn't you? If law fails to act in time, and a church's faithful gathering is stifled, or a person's cherished moral stance is crushed, the vacuum left behind is greater than any damage check can mend.
Does anyone know if he charged for this get-together, or is it just the free samples to get people hooked into the group and then pay for his consulting? I think they paid for this. I could be wrong, but this was like a convention they put together. It was about 100 people were here. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know for sure, but it's a conference, so I kind of assume they paid for it. If I'm wrong, someone let me know.
I want to show y'all some aspects of, let me see here, if I do. Does anybody,
So of the three, Cameron, Chili, or Marcel, which would you ride in a car with? If it had to be one, probably Cameron, because Marcel would fucking murder me or assault me. I really don't know which. He's got a weird thing about me being trans, and I'm not sure if that relates to just, like, normal violence, or if it would turn to some other kind of violence, because it was weird. Woohoo! Chili's just obnoxious. Cameron, you could probably hang out with. Again, he's personable. He's crazy, but he's personable.
Know about that jurisdiction aspect? Do y'all challenge jurisdiction? Anybody got any court cases they're dealing with right now? Like criminal? Are they criminal, civil, or what? Come on, yell it out. Civil? Civil? Any criminal? What about quasi-criminal? Quasi, like tickets and shit? That's quasi. See if I can get this a little bigger. Sorry, I yelled a little bit too loud yesterday and lost my voice, so bear with me. A distinction must be here, and this is a quote, by the way. A distinction must be here observed between excess of jurisdiction and the...
Just a Peach with $1 tip says, I did quick math about how much my PTSD would be worth, about $312,000 over 10 years. I'm surprisingly cheap if I was able to be paid for it, which I'm not. That's a shame.
Clear absence of all jurisdiction over the subject matter. Any authority exercised is usurped authority, and for the exercise of such authority, when the want of jurisdiction is known to the judge, no excuse is permissible. It's all a want of jurisdiction. It's want. They operate off presumption.
He'll find a word, and he'll get really focused on it, and then he'll interpret it in a way that allows him to use it almost like a mantra or axiom that he can then use to sell people programs and his ideas. Scary. It's very religious.
Assumptions of want of jurisdiction. Not that they truly got it, but the problem is that we go into courts and we don't invoke what we need to invoke. See, what I've ended up figuring out is there are a shitload of doctrines that we're just letting fly by. Literally, we just let these doctrines fly by. And we never invoke them. And if you don't invoke...
Adventures in .net says, although I've seen Sovsit cases dismissed, I've never seen them win with the jurisdiction argument. Yeah, I've seen sovereign citizen cases get dismissed, but I've never seen them get dismissed on the merits of the arguments the sovereign citizens are making. I've only seen it as either there's a procedural error or the cop doesn't show up to testify for one reason or another. I have never seen a sovereign citizen win on the merits of their arguments.
Them, they're going to railroad you and you ain't going to get nowhere. So we invoke things such as the rule of lenity. Does anybody know what that is? Rule of lenity. Lenity.
Chili, actually. Yep. Chili on his appeal.
Anybody? Come on now.
There's one.
Somebody knows.
But that was less sovereign citizen and more auditor, so quite different. Different arguments entirely.
What about you, big boy?
I'm blinking.
Okay, that's all right. He's blinking. He just blanked out. What's up in the back? Come on now. Get him a mic, please. He's in the very back. Anybody? That's all right. We got you a mic somewhere. Brandon's going to run you back one. Look at him. Yeah, that good old rule of lenity. Come on now, give me some.
I don't know why I got muted.
I don't know if I'll say this quite right, but it's limiting and making certain information not be able to be spoken of or brought forth as evidence that has been...
Okay, wait. You said limiting. I said lenity.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. You're wrong.
The rule of lenity.
I'm gonna be straight up with you, bro. You're all
He's got the balls to stand up and fucking say it, though.
Yeah, he does. Everybody else was just sitting down quiet. We got one more hand up back there. One more hand, Brandon. One more hand.
It's the idea that when you're representing or presenting yourself, you don't have to know all the rules that a bar card would know.
Nope.
When they say bar card, they mean lawyer.
That's not it either. But y'all are doing good on trying, and I really appreciate that. There's two more hands up.
Couple men with the big balls. Any more big balls,
Yeah,
people?
I like the big balls.
Here we go. We got a big baller over here.
I'm telling you now. Y'all are doing great. I really do appreciate this. I like it more interactive, so if y'all can keep doing that, that'd be great.
Am I more like a Maury or am I more like a Jerry Springer?
Jerry for sure. Maury doesn't walk around.
Jerry!
Bring it back. Yeah, that's cool. I love it. We're not going to fight though, are we?
All right. I would say that it's where those who are going in without any bar card attorneys or whatnot, that the judge is to interpret any kind of law or criminal law to the best of the ability that helps the defendant.
That's very good. That's very good. Very close, too.
Oh, shit.
Very close. Yes. So what ends up going on, I'll give you a quick example. So, like, my boy Luis, he was one of our first guys that came into Operation Wise Dome. We kind of blew him up really big. He was sitting at a gas station with his family, had his car on the trailer. They're parked. Sheriff comes up behind him, starts harassing him. He, give me your ID, blah, 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 blah. He's got plates on, private plates on that he's
Oh, so fraudulent plates. Good to know.
made himself. We call them notice placards because we're putting them on notice. And they give him a fraud charge.
The police call them fraudulent plates.
Wasn't it fraud or? Yeah, fraudulent. It was like deep. It was like fraud type. Yeah, it was felony. And yeah, straight up, they gave him a felony fraudulent plate type vibe thing. And when we started looking into the actual language of the statute in and of itself, it was very specific that it must be a document. Well, let's look up what a document is. It has to be paper, right? Has to be somewhat trying to replicate an actual plate itself. Washington, all those other aspects.
Drink.
So when we're looking into the rule of lenity as a doctrine...
I don't think that's true, by the way. I don't know what the state considers a document in that case, but I promise whatever shit he's doing bad. He's bad at research, so I don't think he's accurate.
If any of the statute, or if the prosecution tries to go outside of the statute, we would invoke this rule of lenity to say you can't do that. You have to stay within the lines and boundaries of what the legislation says. If you're not staying within those boundaries, then it's null and void. We get it dropped. That's one doctrine. Anybody know about the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine? Yeah, y'all have heard about that? Show of hands, who's ever used that?
Hey, Harold Doubleman.
Oh, hands went down quick. It went up, but they went down quick. So, but you know about it, right? No or yes? Okay, so fruit of the poisonous tree is great because we just utilized it yesterday for Hayden's situation. But that's pretty much like your suppression, right? You're getting things suppressed based on the aspect that, let's say like cop comes and demands you about the vehicle, some shit like that, right? Or, let's just say something like that. And they do it illegally. Well, if they're violating your sacred endowed liberties, that is more
He almost said constitutional rights.
important than the statute in and of itself. So instead of arguing the facts of what they're trying to claim against you, why not just come over here and say, well, my sacred liberties were violated first, and get everything else dropped? It's like my people come in and they're like, oh, I want to argue the fact that I know I have the right to drive. You know, like I learned it. I know. I've got case law. But that's not your argument. Your argument should be the aspect that you should have never been pulled
drink
out of the car. You should have never been given tickets. You should have never been spoken to the way you were spoken to. You should have never had threats being thrown at you as though you were lower or inferior, right? Sonny, where you at? You in the back? Give that boy a mic, please.
I'm looking forward to the Patreon hangout too. It should be chill after this. I'm sorry that I'm kind of freaky outy today. I haven't had my anti-anxiety and depression meds for half a week or so. I don't even know at this point. So, I apologize. I'm not doing great mentally. I will get the refill tomorrow, so I'll be fine. I've just been kind of emotionally... Woo! So I apologize.
Please.
Jerry.
Do I need some? I'll have the refill tomorrow. I'm okay. I'm good.
Jerry.
And don't mail me medication. That's illegal. That's a felony. Don't mail me shit illegally.
Jerry. Are we gonna do a little police brutality here, bro?
Fuck those windows. Hey, Sonny, what police department do you work with?
Is it? Yes, sending someone else prescription medication that is not prescribed to them is a felony. Yeah. You don't know that? You're not allowed to give people prescriptions that aren't theirs. Just saying. Like, I'm not a cop. I'm not policing your behavior in your life. I'm just letting you know. You're not supposed to give people prescription drugs that aren't theirs.
Tampa Police Department.
You gotta speak up.
That's why it's a prescription drug. Do you guys not know this? What do you think the prescription's for? For fun? It's because it's controlled substances, generally. You're not necessarily controlled, but you need a prescription to get them.
Tampa Police Department.
How long you been with Tampa Police Department?
A long time.
Long time?
Total of 19 years.
19 years. Boy, you're a career criminal.
Guilty.
I know this may be a little bit personal, and I haven't asked you this before, but you've probably pulled out quite a few people out of the car, right?
Yes. No broken windows, though.
No broken windows?
No.
Damn. Well, you're not good enough. Get the mic back. No, I'm joking. When do you normally ask people out of the car?
If I know they're going to jail.
Yeah, they have a former cop. One of the speakers is a former cop who's into Sobsit stuff now, and his talk is incredibly funny when I heard it, because he sounds like the kind of guy who really shouldn't be a cop. Like, he sucks and was like a shitty cop that did shitty things, and he'll describe shit, and I'm like, I don't know if you... How do I put this? I think he is projecting some of his bad behavior onto all cops, and I know, ACAB because systemic problems, I know, but like legitimately not every cop is literally a dirty cop that does fucked up shit. They're just part of a system that enables like injustice, right? I think he's legit like a really shitty cop that was bad, and now he's projecting that onto every other cop, and he goes to these little fucking things, and it's kind of interesting. It's interesting.
Jail.
Nothing else? You've already made the decision. Okay. Is it normally based on just a hunch, or do you have to have some things that are required before you can ask people out of the car?
Probable cause.
Okay, good. Probable cause of what?
That a crime has been committed.
Oh my God, I love you, bro. You're a good cop. Okay, thank you. Brandon, you can get that from right now. So what I want to come into is this actual document right here was filed on 3/25/25. This is actually an order from a judge on a case out in West Virginia. Has anybody here heard of the civil rights attorney on YouTube, John? Huge channel. He's a great guy, right? What does he say? Freedom is scary, deal with it? Lovely slogan. I love it. So this case came out, and this was in relation to a guy flashing his lights, okay, to let oncoming passengers know that, hey, they're over here shooting their speed camera. You know what I'm saying? Watch out. He gets pulled over for that. Free speech. What I want to show you, though, let me see if I got anything else highlighted. Yep, I do. I got to get to these first ones first. Oh, is it this one? Okay. Wait, is there any? Oh, yep. Unconstitutionally. I think we're right here, and that should be it. So what we're showing here is the order from the judge. The plaintiff contends that Deputy Ellison stated he initiated the stop because the plaintiff was signaling other drivers of the presence of another officer.
I don't know why he's doing this case. This isn't a sovereign citizen thing. Maybe he just wants it because it's a case where cops lost? Makes sense?
Plaintiff on foot.
I'll skip ahead of it. Just a Peach with $1 says, also, if you use a Schedule 1 or 2 drug, keep it in the original container whenever you have it with you. It's a crime in a lot of places to put it in a different one. Correct.
Absent any flashing lights or lawful stop initiating an encounter, bereft of probable cause. Hey, everybody in Discord. I wanted to say hi to y'all real quick. Let me see if I can turn this around. Can everybody just...
Speaking of Discord, if you haven't, join my Discord. Come hang out. It's fun. You can see pictures of people's cats and food and talk about news and vent and do whatever. Join the Discord.
Just wave to all of the Discord members real quick. Y'all say hello. I just wanted to let y'all know, all my Operation Wise Dome members, I love y'all. I just wanted to say hello. I hope y'all are having a great day. As y'all are talking, I'll talk to y'all later. Wanted to say hello to them. But what's pretty cool is that we're always in here chit-chatting. We're always in...
All right, let's move on to a different video. Let's take a look at his video about his traffic reform campaign.
Doing so good, so blessed. Hey man, yo, I wanted to let y'all know, you know it's me, Cameron. This is Power Inherent in the People. You know, we are very excited for the things that we can already see that are transpiring out in the field, that have continuously transpired, but we can start to see the direction in which it's going. And you know, there's just always, it's always something that comes up to somebody getting pulled over, someone dying, someone getting shot. It's like it's a daily thing. I know my boy Brian over at Here's the Deal channel on YouTube. Every day he's hosting something. Then you got Delete Laws. You got that boy DeCastro wilding out, getting jailed, to where, you know, his case gets reversed and he gets out. There's so many things that are going. Look at that Tyreek right now. That thing is huge. It's a huge ordeal. And as much as people are tripping out on Tyreek because everybody loves him, they're like, oh, yeah, he's a celebrity. We all know him. That happens every day. Every day.
I don't even know what guy he's talking about.
Hey, to your brother, your cousin, your friend, someone you know out there is getting violated every day, every hour, the same type of way. And it's all on some shit that don't matter. It's all on some, your paperwork ain't right. You ain't committed a crime.
Real quick, Just a Peach has some more Hannah fans for us to look at. First of all, cute Stingray plushie. Adorable. And then we have, importantly, a cute kitty. We did it, chat. We got a cute kitty. Where did that go? There it is.
It's like, man, y'all know what's up. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to first off let y'all know about the Right to Travel course. Of course, I got the Right to Travel course on my main website, but I'm also going to be putting it into a nonprofit organization that I'm about to start, or have started. And that nonprofit organization is called Traffic Law Reform. Website's going to be trafficlawreform.org. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to just show y'all.
Do you really need to make a non-profit for a website where you're asking people to sign a digital petition? Why do you need a whole fucking org for that?
A petition that I've already started. And then I want,
other than tax fraud.
to
allegedly.
Let me see, is it this one? And then I want to, well, first off, let's do this. So we're going to share off, first off, the website. So this website here is, I've just created it today. We got traffic law reform. Again, the website's going to be trafficlawreform.org. And of course, we got the civil rights lawyer, attorney right here on this beautiful breakdown of Tyreek Hill's rights getting violated. Literally 7 seconds after he was pulled out of the car, or 7 seconds between the officer asking to Tyreek to roll down the window a little bit, he was pulled out of his vehicle. And again, no justification, no harm was caused, just a total blunt violation and defamation.
I've not seen that video. It's entirely possible that that was actually an inappropriate action by the police. Sounds pretty extreme. Also doesn't necessarily sound like a Sovset thing, though. I don't know.
Character out here. But again, we must remember that no state government entity has the power to allow or to deny passage on the highways, byways, nor waterways, transporting his vehicles, or should I say private property or private conveyance, and personal property, oh, there it is, for either recreation or even business, y'all. So they said, oh, if you know, using it for profits on the roads, this is different. This is a little different. I don't know, we could...
Cameron, I don't know specifically where you got this, and it doesn't matter. You cannot cherry pick old laws and then ignore the totality of legal precedent since then and all of the laws that have been passed since then, and then be like, none of that counts. I found a thing that says I don't need a license. That's not how this works. That's never been how this has worked.
Could argue it, but let's not, for the sake of time being, and say, but by being subject only to the local regulation.
By trying to enact reform, he's admitting his whole shtick is a lie. Yeah, that I don't get. I don't understand why he's trying to play both sides of this. Either he's already allowed to do what he's doing, in which case a petition isn't necessary, there isn't a need for reform, he thinks he already is right. Or what he's doing is illegal, and he wants to get people to, you know, contact their representatives to change things, which is fine. I disagree with what he wants to change, but he has a right to do that. The thing I take issue with is the fact that he thinks he can jump ahead of the line and just not obey laws that he doesn't like. Like, you can do whatever you want, man. If you want to break the law, it's fine. You're gonna do it. I wish you wouldn't, but whatever. It's gonna end badly for you, though.
Which is, of course, safety, caution, traffic lights, speed limits, etc. Travel is not a privilege requiring licensing, vehicle registration, or even forced insurances. Okay, and that's Chicago Coach Company versus City of Chicago. Now, what we've done is we've already created a petition. Now, this petition is going to be in relation to a campaign that I am starting. Okay, we done with it, y'all. If there's enough of us, which I know there is, bro.
Over the course of a year, he's only gotten 1,600 people to sign his online petition that takes 5 seconds to sign. There's not that many of them.
We can change the law. It's not hard. We can do it.
I'm just a bill, yes, I'm only a bill, and it's easy to get me past, you know, so we don't even need the rest of the song. You just do it. It's whatever, right? It's easy to change the law.
Enough of us. The laws already put in place, such as this, which is Chicago Coach versus City of Chicago. Now we just have to literally enforce it. And the reason why I think this is so prevalent is because the Chevron deference just got changed up, y'all. Now that right there is a big deal because they're all talking about, you know, felons being able to get their gun rights back. But if you look at it, it's also going back to the aspect that statutory courts can no longer dictate or determine the law based off of their own statutory code or case law. They have to refer it back to the Supreme Court. And that's huge, y'all. Nobody's realizing this big change.
The fact that he thinks any of these terrible Supreme Court decisions are going to work in his favor is wild to me.
In June. We'll be talking about that a little bit later when we start going over some of the motions and stuff in relation to jurisdiction and that clear aspect that administrative judges or justices of the peace are nothing more than the highest form of a clerk within that agency, meaning the county or police agency, municipality itself. Okay? So what you'll notice here is sign the petition. sign the petition, demand it now. Okay, and when we come over to the petition, I got it on change.org. It's already got 7 signatures as of about an hour ago. Hopefully we can get more as this spreads. But this petition is going to start getting sent out to a lot of our higher ups. And I'm talking about a lot of our higher ups. I don't know why it's taking forever to load, but
Again, this was, let's see, this was September 2024. They've gotten 1,600 signatures. It's not going that good, guys.
we'll bust up out of this
It's not going good.
boy. And this petition. So the petition is, I'm going to just read it real quick, y'all. It's short. We, the undersigned, demand immediate reform of the current traffic laws that violate our constitutional right to travel. The system as it stands is an overreach of governmental power designed to extract money and control citizens through unnecessary regulations, fines, and penalties.
Jay's a Proxy says, Chicago coach is a good case. He just doesn't know what it says. The government can't restrict travel, but they can restrict the mode.
This is no longer acceptable. You see,
You're telling me I can't go fly an airplane just because it would make me happy without a license? This is tyranny.
We ain't asking, we demanding. The time, why? Because all power is inherent in us. All power is inherent in us. So the time for excuses and delays is over. We demand that our lawmakers take decisive, or should I say our servants, take decisive action to restore our freedom of movement and end the unjust criminalization of non-criminal infractions. Our right to travel is non-negotiable, and we will no longer tolerate a system that strips us of this fundamental freedom. We demand decriminalization of minor infractions. Now, how I want to put this in a frame real quick before continuing and reading, I just got done moving from Portland, Oregon. And, you know, in Portland, they decriminalized all drugs. So people can literally be out in the street, you know, shooting up heroin, you know, flicking the needle right there on the bus bench, you know, waiting for the bus, and nothing can happen. They can.
Just a Peach with a $1 tip says, so when I was in my 20s, I helped with a petition. This was a real one, and before e-sign, I got 306 hours at an area that was mostly commutes. Yeah, but you're actually, like, doing stuff. He just wants to put it on the internet and call it a day.
You can be out there dead asleep on the sidewalk, passed out with a blanket, nothing gonna happen.
If we could not shit on drug addicts, I'd really appreciate it. I think they got enough problems.
They can be out,
you know, with the drug addiction and all.
Yelling and screaming and saying vulgar language. Really, honestly, nothing happens, right? But you get a person that's traveling, driving, however the case.
Gillis Filler says that's not true anymore. The Legislative Assembly decided over 1 million votes could be overturned by 72 legislatures. Oh, fun. So drugs have been recriminalized. Lovely.
Whatever definition you want to use, common linguistics, black laws definitions, you're traveling on the roads or driving on the roads. You're minding your own business. You're not speeding. You're not swerving. You're not causing danger to anybody. And you get pulled.
Literally, you've been pulled over and they've told you you were swerving and you just tell them, no, I wasn't.
Pulled over because of a improper, your tag's out, your license plate's no longer valid, whatever the case may be. You ain't hurt nobody, you ain't done nothing foul.
Okay, but you're breaking the law. You need to have those. Please do them.
Ass either gonna get fined and stolen from, as far as money is extorted, blackmailed, or your ass going to jail and getting your shit towed. Tell me the logic of that. If we so strict in relation to drugs all throughout the nation, but yet y'all still want to give all these traffic tickets out? If you see that no matter what, like Portland,
what's the connection?
Did, out of all these people doing drugs, that no matter how many times they went to jail, it didn't stop them from coming out to do drugs again. So all of these tickets and this, you know, all of the traffic law aspect, is it helping people at all?
Aspect, drink.
No. I can understand the aspect of having
drink.
Why stops in place. Hello, there's nothing wrong with that. We want to keep people safe. Okay, I can understand the aspect of racing on the roads, especially maybe not on the back roads, but maybe, you know, within the city limits where you got kids walking on sidewalks and stuff like that. It's stupid, bro. Come on, let's be safe. Let's be smart, man. But the aspect of everything else in relation to not being, whether it's related to speed or caution, just any kind of safety hazards, bro, move that shit up out the way. That's done. We done with it.
Oh, I missed one earlier too. Aspect I missed. Drink.
So, in the practice of criminalizing citizens for expired registrations, insurance lapses, and other minor administrative issues, these infractions are not crimes, and the state has no right to punish people for them. We demand these laws be struck down immediately. Protection of the Constitution.
We demand it! No.
Right to travel. The right to travel is fundamental and enshrined in the Constitution.
You can drink water. I didn't tell you to drink anything alcoholic.
We demand the removal of traffic laws that violate this right by imposing excessive fines, vehicle seizures, and arrests for minor nonviolent infractions. Legislators must act now to align traffic laws with the constitutional freedoms they are supposed to protect. Complete overhaul of the ticketing system. The current system is nothing more than a revenue-generating scam that disproportionately punishes citizens, particularly low-income individuals, and we know this.
He thinks the legislature gives a shit about poor people? That's hilarious.
Because when somebody who's got some money can pay a lawyer $50 to go in and file something, well, the other person that ain't got no money to even give a lawyer anything gonna get a whole bunch of fines. This system,
for the record, you can also file in form of pauperous, so you don't have to be charged if you're poor. It's for the record.
Is broke.
That does change the burden, though. It's easier for the judge to dismiss your case out of hand if you're filing in form of pauperous as opposed to filing in the typical fashion.
Broken and corrupt. We demand a total overhaul that prioritizes fairness, justice, and public safety, not filling state coffers with money from fines and fees. In police overreach and traffic stops. This is the biggest one. This is the most important. I feel like, of course, the money aspect and the scams and that whole aspect is big, which we'll go into.
He did it. Depraved Ambiance says, Cameron is absolutely one of those dumb guys who uses big words confidently to sound smart. He's a dumb person's idea of a smart person. He's the Jordan Peterson of sovereign citizens. I wouldn't even necessarily call him dumb. I don't think he's dumb. Like, I've seen him read. He reads just fine. I think he's overconfident. I don't think he's dumb. I just think he's wrong. Like, I don't think he's dumb. Although, where is the line between, like, dumb and wrong? Like, how do I explain this? He's articulate, he can read well, he can form thoughts. It's just that the thoughts are based on false premises. So he's delusional, but I don't think he's dumb. Does that make sense? Maybe the distinction I'm drawing isn't very functionally helpful, but it makes sense in my head. Does that make sense? Like, I think he's capable of probably problem solving and dealing with these things outside of the thing he's delusional about. Like, I think he's probably functional in life for the most part, but he got hooked on these certain ideas, you know? Being able to read and be articulate doesn't mean you're not dumb. Have you met most people? The bar is real low.
At a later point. But I think also the aspect of just, you know, these cops boldly and bluntly just saying, hey, we'll pull over people just to fuck with you. And I mean, it's getting out of hand. As many, you know, over 3,300 people have died in between 2017 and 2022 on traffic stops alone. You know, and like I said,
I imagine most of that's people getting struck by other vehicles that weren't paying attention, if I had to guess, which is still not good. Doesn't really make sense in your favor to stop traffic stops altogether, though.
I don't want to go into
how many millions of traffic stops took place between 2017 and whatever the other year was, 2023 or something, and you're saying 3,600 resulted in injuries or deaths? Don't get me wrong, that's too many, and there needs to be safety and stuff and procedures in place to make sure that everyone's safe during traffic stops. But, like, you can't just say we can't pull anyone over ever because of that.
It's super deep right now, but the aspect is a lot of people get fearful, bro, and just make dumb decisions because of the situation that they're in, being that if they have anything go wrong at that moment, that's it. Everything crumbles from there. The whole house of cards falls, right? You know, you go to jail, your car gets taken, you ain't got no money.
Just a Peach with a tip says, more quick and dirty math, if the court was a money-making operation, 15 minutes in court would start at like 430 for someone who was not convicted of a crime.
To get it, I mean, it's the last draw to where you're freaking out and can't take losing the only thing that you have. So people make bad choices. It is what it is. So, traffic stops have become an opportunity for over-policing and harassments, leading to confrontations that are unnecessary and dangerous, as you clearly see in the Tyreek Hill. The overuse of traffic stops for minor issues must end. Police should focus on the real public safety threats. Oh, looky there. And not as enforcers of bureaucratic policy nonsense, right? Because why? Every state is a corporation, every city is a corporation, and every police department is a corporation.
They're not private for-profit corporations. Broadly speaking, a corporation is any group of people coming together for a singular function or for a common reason. He's using corporation in sort of the colloquial way, which means like a private for-profit corporation. That's not what it means. States, police departments, they're not colloquial corporations. They're governmental agencies or governments. We don't use corporation in the way he's using it.
Why this matters. Freedom. This is not a request. Freedom is our right, and the government has no authority to restrict our movement with excessive regulations. Justice. The current...
It's not an excessive regulation to make sure that you are capable of operating the multi-ton death machine. Like, I do not understand these people. Cars are a really fantastic invention. Public transport's better for society, but just as an invention, I totally get cars are a cool thing. But they're also multi-ton death machines, so we have traffic laws that we enforce. We also want to make sure people know those traffic laws, so in order to test that, we give them a test, usually written, that makes sure they know the traffic laws that they need to pass, and then also a road test to just basically make sure they can operate the vehicle. That's not unreasonable in any way.
The system is unjust, punishing the people for trivialities while the real problems go unaddressed. We demand justice in the form of immediate reform. Accountability. The time for half measures and excuses is over. We hold our legislators accountable for upholding our constitutional rights and demand immediate action to restore the right to travel. We will no longer wait. By signing this petition, you are making it clear that we will no longer tolerate the abuse of traffic laws to control and punish citizens or just natural beings, period, just people living. This is a demand for action, and we expect immediate results. Our right to travel will be restored, and the people will not rest until it is. Okay? So what I want to do is ask in the description, this petition is available for you to sign right now. So if you're watching this, go to the description, click the link, sign that bad boy. Please, please, please. We're getting this to spread because we are about to go on a pretty cool campaign. This campaign is going to be, I don't know if y'all remember that boy, okay? And I ain't ashamed to say this. I'm gonna steal some ideas. I'm gonna take that bad boy and I'm gonna run with it. And I don't know if y'all remember during the pandemic, there was this dude, his name was Alex Stein, Primetime 99, okay? Coming right out of Texas, you dig? I'm a Texan, okay? I'm a Texan, okay? Really, I'm a Californian, but I lived in Texas for a while, all right? So, what I gotta say, though, is that for a moment, homeboy Primetime 99, Alex Stein, went around the country, I believe, went into several aspects of public meetings throughout the country, I believe, and used the public time that he was eligible to obtain, okay, whether City Hall or whatever the case may be, whatever public meeting place he was going to.
Oh, Alex Stein was that absolute douchebag, right? Hold on. Let me pull him up real quick. Yep, he's that right-wing, like, provocateur, alleged comedian. Yeah. He's a douche. Another failed comedian that decided to become a right-wing talking head because if you can't succeed, go be a Republican. Woohoo.
And he did a rap or he brought up some issues, whatever the case may be. I feel like that's what we need to start doing. What I have done, let me come on back over here, share the screen again with y'all. Hold on now. Okay. So what I have done is I have already developed some some scripts. Okay, now these scripts go from being super authoritative, okay, hard hitting, to if you're in a an area that needs you to be a little bit more subtle, a little bit more of all sizes, of all coming. Sign the gonna be this one here. Okay, share. All right, so we're getting back into it. Sign the petition aspect. So this project in which we are going to be doing, I'm naming it Project Parrot. As you see, the parrot of all shapes,
He
of all
loves AI.
sizes, of all colors. That's why I did it. We're going to be changing up these roads, okay? So the Project Parrot is going to be us going out and doing all this public speaking, okay? Like I said, we're going to be bold. We're going to have a bold advocacy here. We're going to be going over the constitutional integrity. Everything is going to be community driven, because I think once we start having logical conversations within our communities about the aspects of the ticketing system and how it is blackmail and extortion, I know a lot of people are going to be against it.
Legally, it's not blackmail or extortion. It's a ticket. Trying to reframe legal actions as illegal just makes you look like a douche.
But again, I think a lot of people also have to remember that we're not speaking of the aspects of speeding and dangerous type of driving. Okay, we're speaking of the aspects of driver's license. Because nobody has to go and take a driving test anymore. Come on now. Can't just go randomly calling me. So I'm getting that random call. Sorry, y'all. Let me put everything on silent for a second here. Focus. And we're working. Okay, so we got everything being muted at this point. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so once people start to understand that we're only speaking about the driver's license aspect, due to the fact that you don't even have to go down and have someone drive with you to see if you can drive well, you just have to go take a test within a booklet.
Michigan requires you do an actual in-car test. Any state that doesn't require that is crazy to me. What the fuck do you mean you don't have to get in a car and prove you can drive? If anything, the standards for driver's licenses and giving them to people in the United States is far too low. It's crazy. Hydrate.
Then after a certain amount of years, you never have to even go back and check to see if you're competent ever again. You just renew.
I think that they should have to do it every 10 years. I think it would be reasonable if after you get your driver's license, every 10 years you got to go back and do the test again, and then maybe over 60 every 5 years. Maybe over 65 every 5 years. I don't know.
The license online, y'all. So someone could have had a mental accident or problems throughout their life and developed something to where they can't drive well, and yet all they have to do is renew their license without ever taking any kind of competency test. Makes no.
Yeah, I agree. They should make it so we have to take tests more often. You know, this is the opposite of what you're advocating for, right? Like, you're making an argument that's the opposite of what you're intending to. Like, are you crazy? You know that you're making an actual good argument, but facetiously? How strange.
No sense. We go over that in extensive detail as well in the Right to Travel course, so y'all make sure to pick that up if you haven't. Again, that's on my main website, but I'll put a link in the description as well for the Right to Travel course. And then, of course, going into innovative legal strategies by leveraging the recent changes in legal interpretation, such as the weakening of the Chevron deference. Okay. So we can also go into more about the traffic law reform, but what I want to focus on again is the aspect that we've got to start bringing more attention to the travesties that are happening. Like,
I'm gonna move on. I'm not gonna let him sit there and take advantage of some fucked up thing that happened for his bullshit. Alright, we've been going for 3 hours. I think we're probably done for the day. There's plenty more Cameron Wilson and the fucking Wise Dome that we'll cover in the future, but I'll try not to overdo it. I know I have a tendency to get hyper-focused on specific topics and then overload everyone with it until they're sick of it, so I apologize. I'll try to chill out. At least in terms of stream stuff with him. Unless he does anything crazy, of course. So, like I said, we are going to be doing the Patreon and YouTube member stream after this. I'm going to probably go take 15, 20 minutes, go say hi to Baja, because she got home recently. Maybe grab some food, and then I'll come back, and we'll do the patron show. We're going to watch a movie together, something in the public domain. So, yeah, if you want to be a part of that, join us at patreon.com/HannahReloaded and become a paid member. or become a member on YouTube. The links are going to be on your Patreon feed, or if you're a member, check your YouTube community tab, because the way that I do it, I can't just make like a member video because I'm also doing Patreon. So the way that I do it is I basically do an unlisted video, and then I put a link to it under the community tab on YouTube, that only members can see that community post. So, all right, cool beans. Let's see, we're gonna raid on Twitch. We'll raid KF Logan.
When we are getting things right.
All right. Have a great night, everyone. I will see you on Tuesday for Tinfoil. I know that's the 1st, but I'm actually taking tomorrow off instead because I have electrolysis anyway. So I will be back on Tuesday, the 1st, for Tinfoil. I'll see you then if you're not a YouTube member or a patron. All right. See y'all later. Have a great night. And, I don't know, have something yummy for dinner. Bye, everyone.